Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar with the Astonishing Melanie and a whole group of other people.
A turkey load of peoples, y'all.
Turkey load of people, sure. Thank you for joining us for our very first live Thanksgiving special. If you're done watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, or you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, or you just want to be away from your family and escape to your car, welcome. How is everybody doing? I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, starting here to my right, and then we'll go all the way down to New Zealand.
All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Donald Vex, comicreleases.com assistant editor and manager of this channel, and I want to thank Omar for letting me slip in 30 seconds into the countdown while I was doing my hair, taking a shower, but I hope everybody's doing well this Thanksgiving or this Thursday, wherever you are in the world.
You look extremely groomed.
Yes. Very groomed.
Good job.
Thank you.
You look snazzy.
To his right is none other than the Norwegian assassin, Lars.
Yes, Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-in-chief of Mad Norwegian Press, formerly of Wizard Magazine, and I am reporting to you live from Chicago TARDIS, the annual Doctor Who convention here in Chicago. Yes, it's very exciting. This is the excuse that I've used to avoid my family for about 25 years. Because about a quarter century ago, I went to the Grand Matriarch and I said, you know, they're having this convention in Chicago, and obviously they can't run it without me. They can't run it. But I did use these words. I said, I was raised to honor my obligations and responsibilities. And they said, oh yeah, that's absolutely no problem at all. You should go. They probably don't want me there anyway, so it's very useful.
Okay, thank you for that, Lars. Well, I'm so glad it worked out. And then let's go underneath him is...
Hey, it's me. Wonder Maddie. I'm here on this channel on Tuesdays, but not this past month because my internet's been insane. But hopefully they're fixing it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. What are you doing in your car? Are you escaping?
I'm at my in-laws' house, and so I thought I'd come outside and do it in the car.
Tell them you're going out to smoke.
Well, I just said I'd be right back. I gave no context, and I realized, I should have. And I was like a crazy person in the car.
You're gonna be out here for like 2 hours.
So.
You're gonna be out here. No, it's fine. We got some people that are tagging in later on, so Maddie can leave anytime she wants to. And thank you, Maddie, for being here. Who is that to your left?
Are you asking her or are you asking me?
Whomever. Doesn't matter. Curtis.
My name is Curtis, and I am from the Epic Marvel Podcast, and happy to be here. I'm in Canada, so we had Thanksgiving a month ago, so I'm not doing anything special today.
Okay. And to his left is Max.
Yeah, I'm Max. I do music things. I also read books, and I just got home from teaching for about 10 hours. So my brain is falling apart like a wet cake. So I have no filters left. I'm going to probably get demonetized.
How we love you.
You got 1 minute, and then you can say whatever you want.
Certification test, right?
Yeah. Well, I passed one of my exams for the degree I'm doing to get my second bachelor's degree in music education. And it was a very big exam about developmental psychology and pedagogy and stuff. And it was very fun. I had a good time doing the thing. I'm so glad it's over.
Congratulations.
Okay. And last but not least, all the way from New Zealand is my buddy, Crisis. What's up, Crisis?
Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in New Zealand, but that's okay because nobody here knows when Thanksgiving is. Anyway, the ladies at the pool have been wishing me Thanksgiving all week long. And they asked, is this when we start giving presents? But that's fine. People don't need to know how things work in America. It's crazy there. I am found on the internet at crushingcrisis.com, where I have guides to the vast majority of the Marvel Universe, DC, and Indies as well. I'm almost done updating all the Marvel guides. It's been a months-long journey. But today, I'm here and I'm thankful to be with friends from around the globe. You know, Omar, you didn't know this when you invited me to this, but I very rarely ever did Thanksgiving with my family. I always tried to go to different friends every Thanksgiving after I got to college and could, choose such things. And it's been so weird being in New Zealand where I don't have a lot of in-person friends and nobody does Thanksgiving. So this is actually my first Thanksgiving with friends in 7, 8 years. So I'm very, very happy to be
Nice.
here.
Well, I'm glad that you accepted the invitation then, and you're ready to talk about some comics.
Hey, Chris, you're just in time to introduce yourself. Woohoo!
Yeah, Chris, way to chime in at the last second and like, come on in. What do you do, Chris? Who are you, buddy?
Hi, I'm Chris Balga. I'm the co-host of Marvel Alliance, part of the Geekverse Podcast YouTube network, and then I'm also one of the co-hosts on the Brave and the Boys with Jake and Jordan, looking at the OPB Weekly Buyer's Guide every Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you,
So
James,
James
for putting
said-
all the links out
Yeah,
there.
I didn't want to show the links while people were talking because it makes everybody so small. But I do want to point out that Omnibo is grateful for every issue of Spidey from AF number 15 to Brand New Day. Oh, I'm glad.
Every single
But
issue.
nothing beyond.
Hey, Samantha, how are
I'll
you
be downhill
doing?
from there.
Hey,
Mr.
Samantha
Tex-
Chora.
Oh,
Mr. Tex, I did. Thank you so much. It's seriously, thank you. I have your note posted on my wall at school. Thank you.
oh, okay.
Oh, and thank you for the super sticker.
So how much is Maddie smoking in her car because
there
it's
you go.
all foggy there?
It's not my things. It's not it. That's why.
Maddie, I know you're the one that has to get going soon. So why don't you tell me like some of the things that you've been reading recently that you've been enjoying?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been checking out Absolute Wonder Woman and Green Arrow as far as like regular things. And I'm really enjoying those. I really like Absolute Wonder Woman so far, but we'll see. It's pretty early on. Besides that, I think the Birds of Prey run's been really fun.
Oh yeah, Kelly Thompson's run on Birds of Prey, and now she is doing Absolute Wonder Woman. That's awesome. There's always homework, Peter. What books would you consider like things that you're like graphic novels?
Thank you, Omnibo.
I'd say, I mean, anything Tilly Walden. So it's always something that she's one I can go back to over and over again.
Good answer.
And Greg Rucka Wonder Woman, because I think I'd say the book I'm most thankful for is probably Marvel Annihilation, because that's what really got me into comics. Like got me into, like that was kind of like the start, and I was like, okay, well I'm in. Which is a weird. I don't always say it's new reader friendly, but it's new reader friendly for me.
I think
Like
it.
That's a very unique answer.
I think it absolutely is new reader friendly. I mean, I think that was the point of that big event at that time whenever they were doing it, right? Like they were doing the little mini series and then the one shot. That was great. Going to watch. There's a game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Football Thursday, man. That's what I was doing earlier before I got on the show.
Yeah, just some cribbage going on.
Yeah, it's on in the living room, and I'm not used to that. My family usually watches like Hallmark movies after eating, so it's very weird. I'm like, what is this? Sports?
Yeah, we
Nothing's
plan
good?
our Black Friday shopping when we would get together. Like that's what we would do. But now the internet has kind of taken all that glamour away, like because everybody is having sales, even people that aren't in America, like companies that aren't in America, they're all having big Black Friday sales just because I think it's just it's an international celebration, and Cyber Monday too, which I can talk about here in a little bit from some of our sponsors. But yeah, I'm thankful for Injustice.
Yeah.
Injustice.
Jason's saying hi, and Blair Jose.
Can you imagine out of context what it sounds like to say you're thankful for Injustice?
Yeah, that's true.
In the early 90s.
What about WWE?
Listen, yes, because Rhea Ripley's really hot.
Yeah, I agree with that. James, thank you. Thank you for that. What are you looking forward to the most that you're gonna check out? What's coming out next?
I got put on the spot here. I didn't even know this books were
You're the one that's in the
like
car getting ready to bounce out. So
oh man, I don't know what I'm excited for next year. Like, I tend not to think too far ahead as far as comic books in. I like to see as it comes out, so I don't get disappointed if things are delayed or canceled.
Oh, okay. I think there are some delays coming. Yeah.
Fall Out Boys Compendium. I think that would be Amanda.
Why? And Bruce saying, yes, there is a game. The Detroit Lions, my hometown.
Thank you for the super chat.
Are you watching the game, Bruce? I had no idea there was a game.
He's always multitasking.
This past week I read, what did Omar Reyes read? By the Horns, The Interceptor, Local Man, and Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. All good stuff. Local Man's the one that's written by or co-written by Kid Cudi, right?
No, Local Man is Tony Fleecs.
Oh, Tony Fleecs and yeah, that's it.
Wait, Kid Cudi's writing comic books now?
Yeah, he's doing Moon. What's the Moon one?
He's doing Moon Man.
Moon Man, that's it. Yeah.
But I got to talk up By the Horns for a second because people never mention that. It's a Scout Comics comic. It's kind of like if somebody was inside of Final Fantasy where you have to like grind and get loot and stuff, but is being a real person inside of that game, not in a Gwenpool way, but in a like, wow, this is all kind of absurd that I've got to go out and kill 20 rats and then hunt down a unicorn. The art is absolutely beautiful. They just did a Kickstarter for a second deluxe edition, and it's totally under the radar because not a lot of people read Scout. It's probably my favorite comic I've ever read from that company.
It honestly sounds like a lot of manga I've read. To be fair.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a manga. It's like manga-y, dead Gwenpool-y, and then super, super pretty.
Who's the artist on it?
Ooh,
do you remember?
To look that up, but I will tell you in a moment.
Omar Reyes also has a comic book club with his son. That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's passing on that legacy. I hope Chip Kit's Spider-Man's panel by panel finally comes out next year, originally slated for September 2022. Hi, Omar. I'm not live with you when I'm saying this. I'm watching the beginning of the stream. Just go. Hey, JT.
Hey, JT from the past.
I've started rereading Philip Kennedy Johnson's Action and Kelly Sue's Aquaman. Both runs got me back into reading when I left the hobby for a while. I like PKJ is getting an omnibus, but there is a compendium of all this stuff, the War World. And it's funny because I just reread Exile, and it's very similar to that Superman story.
Thank you, Bruce, for the super chat. Yes, I am watching on the projector in the outdoor theater while you are on my iPad Pro.
We're not on the projector.
Multitasking like a pro. And thank you, John, for the super chat. I'm thankful for Mexican Gwen Stacy. What? Is she still? We still got her?
Shh. I didn't take her out.
No,
Melody. Amanda. Somebody took my Mexican Gwen Stacy.
I didn't do it.
Shoot. Well, here's what.
Just blame Tina. She's not on live right now. She's in the chat, so you can just blame her.
Tina would not have done that.
Hey, Ben.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I'm happy for everyone on my screen right now and everyone in the chat. While I have everybody here, and Maddie just mentioned something about Annihilation. Do you all remember your first comic?
Fables.
Okay.
I might have it in the room.
That's awesome.
Not just necessarily single issue, but like maybe trade paperback if that's how you came into comics. But yeah, Dom, why don't you start it? What was your very first comic book? And
Green
why?
Lantern issue number 25, given to me by my uncle when I visited him in the Philippines when I was in kindergarten, and I have not looked back since.
When you mean 25, you mean
I mean the end of the Sinestro Corps War event.
And you were where?
I was in the Philippines. I was 7 years old.
I
was in kindergarten.
Okay, next. No.
Oh, you think about your age?
We were doing a podcast review in Sinestro Corps.
Oh,
and Dom was at 7 years old. Okay, that's great, Dom. No, that's awesome. Thank you. Kindergarten. Oh, that's great. Lars, what about you?
My first single issue is I am ancient enough that my first single issue was Uncanny X-Men 143, John Byrne's last.
Yeah, the final Byrne.
My first comic, I come in John Byrne's last. And, of course, as I mentioned before in this channel, at the time, my parents were not very supportive of comics. My father thought they were a waste of money. My mother thought they were a portal to Satanism. And that issue, perhaps, might...
All totally accurate, but please continue.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes. And they say that as if that's a bad thing. But that issue might lead you to believe that she had a point because, that's the one where the demon, this enormous, just...
Nagari? Is that what they were called?
Nagari, who are not drawn all that scary under when Dave Cockrum did it, but under John Byrne, he amps it up to 12 out of 10. And, it is a violent, gross issue, to be sure. So maybe Mother had a point. My first graphic novel was that I knew that the Dark, because I had, how else could you read the Dark Phoenix Saga? I heard about this Dark Phoenix Saga thing, but you couldn't read it. And my grandfather did drive me from mall to mall to mall, so we could try to find a copy of the Dark Phoenix Saga in graphic novel form on the shelf. And we finally did find one. But it took a long time. I mean, the accessibility of today's age compared to back then is just insane. So yeah, those are my two big firsts.
That's a good origin story. Just really quick, I want to get this super chat. Thank you.
I'm grateful for Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars and Crisis on Infinite Earths. Both of those are great events. I like both of those.
And people in the chat are chiming in on their first comics and what they're grateful for as well. Like Calvin and Hobbes.
People always think of like Secret Wars as a big toy, like tie-in thing to sell toys. And it was, but I think it was a really fun story in there. Max, what about you, buddy?
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a good one.
Oh, okay. Bye,
Good to see you.
I saw the Brave and the Boys in the chat.
Yeah, he's coming up.
Well, I have two answers to this, because when I was growing up, there were like comics around. So my parents had comics flying around, and I would get random comics from my grandparents that were usually Asterix or Tintin in Dutch. And then when I wanted to get into comics later in life, I was like, I want to read X-Men because I like X-Men. I think they're cool. So I would Google them, and then everyone kept recommending House of M. And I was like, sure, I'll buy House of M. But I was so confused throughout the read. I was like, where's Magneto? When are they going to fight him? What is Toad? Who are all these people? I had no idea what was going on.
Oh, man.
Then I didn't touch comics for a while. And then I think I read Long Halloween, and I was like, oh, comics are cool again.
Comics are cool. Yeah. Understatement there. What about you, Peter? I don't know if I know this story or not.
Well, I think like a lot of kids, I just had a handful of random newsstand comics, and I actually just looked it up. I thought they were in the room with me. I had these 3 comics. I had Conan number 62, a really beat up copy, which is Conan the Barbarian, Death in the Land of Dagon. And it's like this giant skull, and he's on this like horse or boar with tusks and stuff. And then I had Captain America 321, which is the one where he's got a machine gun in his hand. So I had a very strange idea about Captain America.
Awesome cover.
And then I had Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham number 6, where he's being held up at gunpoint by an eggplant, a tomato, and a head of lettuce. So I thought comics were very, very violent, I think. But then the first comic that I bought and started ongoing reading, Lars came in on the last John Byrne issue of X-Men. I came in on the last Chris Claremont X-Men. I started regularly reading with X-Men 1991, number 3. And I was like, wow, this is great. It was Chris Claremont's last issue.
Wow, this is
I always
great.
tell people, you can jump in anywhere.
That book was so Crisis ever stopped talking? And the last time I saw him, he was talking.
I was thinking, let's see how long before Jess reveals his face.
It hurts him to hold that thing up for so long. How's it going, Jess?
Good. How are you guys doing? Happy fighting with your relatives day?
Yes.
Getting drunk and fighting with your relatives day. That's what we call it here in America, Curtis. I don't know about the Great White North.
Fight with our international host. Wow.
We call it thankful for our families day.
I did.
I'm not familiar with that.
I did get texted that a member of my family has shown up on a doorstep uninvited about a half hour ago and was asked to leave. So yeah. Although does that constitute fighting with them? I mean, that's just like, please leave.
Your range of comics that you got, Peter, is amazing. You got a Conan book, a Peter Porker book, and then
yes, I was thinking of that too.
What's the topic besides fighting with your in-laws and stuff?
We were talking about our first comic book or collected edition. Wow, Bar. I still think that's Jess's second account, by the way. I don't think there's a real Bar. He's paying some woman
that's
for
so awesome.
Israel.
Do you think I'm so technically adept that I could actually do that?
No, you're paying James to do it. All right, Curtis, what about you, buddy? First comic.
Oh, there's Omnibo, my number 2 fan.
I have 2 origin stories. One is my first comic book proper is Web of Spider-Man number 60 from 1989, which is Spider-Man had cosmic powers at the time.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction to Spider-Man, was that he could fly and shoot lasers from his eyes. It was pretty cool. I got it for my birthday. But even before that, I had to leave and find this because my first comic books were these comic inserts from the Sunday newspapers. This is from the Vancouver Sun. And these, my grandmother we didn't have a subscription to this newspaper. My grandma did. And she would save these for me. So when I came over, I would read the comics. And it's, like Garfield and Archie and Peanuts is on the cover. For better, for worse, this is how I knew it, For Better, for Worse, because it was in here. Blondie, all of the classic comic strips that from the 80s. This is, what is this one? 1987. That's kind of when I started really getting into comics, and it was through the comic strips.
Aww.
I think a lot of us did when I don't know if Dom remembers this, but there were these things called newspapers, Dom. And they had comic strips in there sometimes. And on Sundays they were in color. We were living the high life and we didn't even know it, brother. We didn't even know it. What about you, Chris? First comic book or collected edition?
First comic book I ever have. I had to grab it because I still have it, and luckily got to meet the person who helped me get this, in the sense of I spent my allowance money on it, and it is Superman issue number 182, the return, the hollow foil, and got it signed last year at HeroesCon by Dan Jurgens, and had to tell him the story of how that came about. So,
cool.
Man, did the gimmick cover work on you? Were you like, that one stands out?
Oh, absolutely. I remember, we all remember how big it was when he died, but not only just that, was everyone's going nuts just trying to get the return issue. So
I remember that. Yeah, we were going to be millionaires buying up so many copies of the Return of Superman.
We're all going to be rich.
All right, Omni Dog.
What my first comic was?
Yeah.
I think it was this one. I still have it, but I didn't know I was supposed to go pull it. But I did pull up an image of it. It's Batman 190. The second appearance of the Silver Age Penguin.
Wow. You still have it?
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's in pretty good condition. It's in very fine condition, I would say.
All right. Real talk. What?
No, it is. It's real
talk. What made you grab that comic?
Oh, I thought. I think that I just thought it was a boss cover. It was 12 cents. I was probably 7 or 8, and I had 12 cents in my pocket.
Yeah, that's a good composition on that cover. I agree. It is boss. Is that what you said as a 12-year-old?
Yeah, as an 8-year-old, yeah. Actually, that's back when boss was a real word.
What, really?
1967, yeah. I love the go-go checks era. That's what those are. To show that they were hip and cool, which they were utterly not. But that Batman and Superman and Detective and Action Comics were the 4 staples that I ended up starting out with, and then branching out into other stuff like Flash by Carmine Infantino. Yeah, spinner racks in my drugstore. That's exactly where I got them.
Were your parents like supportive of like buying you comics? Like were they like
yeah.
They were like, wow, get what you want.
Yeah, they were. As a matter of fact, when I this is how great my dad was. When I used to go to summer camp for 6 weeks, like from 8 years old to when I was 14, probably, I would give him a list of the comics to go look for at the drugstore every week. But it was a complete crapshoot back then because you weren't guaranteed continuity. They would just the distributor or the rack or whatever it was called, you weren't going to get Superman 179 and 180 for sure. You could get Superman, and then next week when it was supposed to come out, you could end up with like Flash and Green Lantern and Hawkman and Atom or whatever, but there was no continuity. So, but he would go to the drugstore every week and pick up what he could for me. And I would come home from summer camp to not only all those comics, but he would tear out the, Dom, pay attention, newspaper comic strips that I had missed and the color section for 6 weeks. So shout out to my dad, who was awesome.
That's awesome, dude.
That is awesome.
I'm always curious. You know, I hear a lot of stories like Lars. You know, these things are stupid, or yeah, it's the work of the devil. Why would you want to read these? So I've heard a lot of those stories.
Oh.
So
Well, a lot of people back in the day insisted that they weren't reading, and they treated them that if you reading comics, it was like you were still being a child. You know,
Yeah.
you were infantilizing yourself.
I think it's changed a lot.
Oh God!
I think because I was I think they were my gateway into reading, because I was such a strong reader, especially in third grade, that I would read, you know, prose books for third graders. It's not like I read Treasure Island until, actually, I did read Treasure Island in third grade. What was my point? I read Treasure Island. Oh, that I read books. I read real books, you know, prose books, and so they were like, fine, I guess. It never was an issue.
I nearly came to blows with my Kid Crisis's vice principal when she was first in primary school here in New Zealand, because she had like one of those like read every day logs or whatever, and we were in the middle of Claremont X-Men, and so we were logging our X-Men issues.
Oh, no.
And the vice principal was like, well, that doesn't count. And I was like, why don't I bring you a list of vocabulary words that she has learned from X-Men, and then you can decide if it counts or not. And then she saw I was, you know, I think as an educator, and I'm sure Melanie has opinions on this, you have to be open to whatever is getting your kids in love with learning.
Yeah.
Right. Like if whether they're in love with math, reading, you know, theater, science, whatever gets them into it, that's the path of least resistance. And you do
I have a photocopied page of Charles Xavier's speech by Scott Lobdell at the beginning of a Executioner song. I read it to them. I was like, listen to this. This is fantastic. So I photocopied and put it on the wall.
Did you have to knock down the assistant principal, or did she see what your point was?
We changed schools shortly after that.
Oh, I'm yanking my kid
because she didn't like X-Men.
I was really hoping you'd throw words out there, you know, vocabulary words like adamantium and all these made up words.
You know, what is the one? Like Stygian darkness, or Stygian darkness. So many words that I still don't even need to know how to say as an adult, because I've only ever read them in Claremont X-Men. You know?
Yeah.
Crisis, you could have totally thrown some Doctor Strange spells at them and just really blown their minds.
No, I can just see you going, Bamf. Bamf is a word. It's a word.
You know what? I was thinking that Spider-Man was my first. But now I think it was Calvin and Hobbes.
It's probably a comic strip.
Because I was in elementary school and I'd ask my mom, what does kamikaze mean? Because Calvin used the word kamikaze. And but it was more than that. That's just the one that sticks with me, right? Because of the definition. I'm like, oh wow. But I would ask my parents what, you know, from Calvin and Hobbes, what does this mean? What does this mean? And yeah, I think Calvin and Hobbes is my first one.
We used to, before I got my appendix taken out, and that's my origin story, where I got some comics from my uncle. I used to have a lot of comic strips that I would collect from my dad's newspapers. But comic strips down there were a little different than they are here, because, or even in Canada, like you guys had like things like, you know, like Calvin and Hobbes and Far Side and Peanuts. But we had historical comic strips, which I know some newspapers carried. But the historical comic strips were super ultra violent. They were talking about terrorist groups and like tying bombs to kids and like really graphic stuff like that.
But so were they nonfiction? Were they like actual?
No, they were based on like real events. So it was, you know, depending on who was in charge in the government, these things were being published. So I remember, being like 4 years old and looking at these things with like kids blowing up because somebody tied a bomb to them, and like it was a way to like explore why we should not let this terrorist group take over ever again.
Since you don't speak Spanish, could you understand them still?
What's that?
Since you don't speak Spanish, could you understand them still?
is that a joke from Omnidog's Vault? It doesn't translate well into near mint condition. Yes, of course I could read it. It was just really, it was all propaganda, right? But it was just I can't imagine like our kids like reading things like that, like people's intestines just being ripped out of them. Or
although I'm currently reading Goodnight Poon, and Lydia read it freshman year, and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, but Goodnight
single
Poon did
panel
not
is
take
about
place.
sex.
But it wasn't like a real story, right? Like it's a made up character. It's a freaking bird.
Not when one part happens. It's his human form. I was like, oh wow.
Omar confirmed he can't speak Spanish. Josh can't write full sentence. That's today, Josh. Channel, here's my origin story. I watched the Marvel Cinematic Universe when then found out there's a comic shop in my town and got curious.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the way to do it.
I watched Spider-Man and Batman and X-Men. Yeah, those
yeah. I should clarify that there was a brief window where my parents were supportive very early on. Mm-hmm. Somehow they turned, and the waste of money and Satanism kicked in at about the 9-month mark. I guess that's how long it takes Satanism to gestate, is about the length of a human pregnancy. So for that very narrow window, they said comics were okay. I remember during that window, I broke my arm in gymnastics class because I was told to do something wrong. And I'm in the hospital with this horribly mangled arm. And my father comes in and he goes, would you like a comic book to make you feel better? And I went,
that's good, Dad.
Yes, he was, except I went, no, I want something to dull the pain.
You're such a baby, Lars.
I want the hard drugs.
You're such a baby.
I know, but
that sounds like my origin story.
Yeah, and then, like I say, weirdly, a few months after that, they somehow just underwent this mental conversion and decided, nope, it is right out. Then I had to start hiding them all over the place.
Wow.
You're when Jess was talking about the paper, the spinner racks. I remember your dad telling me when he was a kid, they would trade comic books. Like he could never find Amazing Fantasy 15, but he was able to trade for like a Amazing Spider-Man #1 because it never came to Frankfort, the pharmacy that he shopped where he got his comics in Frankfurt. So he had to trade it to a kid in Lawrenceburg, which is the town next to where her dad grew up. And I thought that was really cool. Like they traded comics back then. Can you imagine like trading like the second appearance of Silver Age Penguin for an Amazing Fantasy 15?
Oh God.
Yeah.
I actually have a very similar story. So my father was a big comics fan, but he didn't have any remaining. But an uncle who married into my family was a huge comics fan. And when he found out I was into comics, he said, "Oh, I've got a whole box of them. You should come and like catalog them." So I took my trusty Wizard magazine, maybe with Lars on
Lars
at that point, I don't know. And I went to go through his comics.
Telling you how to overcharge, yeah.
And they were in pristine condition, but they were all war comics because he was in the Navy and he loved as a kid like Sergeant Rock, Sergeant Fury, like all those DC war books. And I said, "Oh, did you never like read X-Men?" He said, "Actually, I had an X-Men #1. I traded it just for like a random Sergeant Fury comic that I was missing because I missed it at the drugstore." And I'll like, he was like, "Take this X-Men crap. Give me the Sergeant Fury." So I got to touch and read through all these brilliant Silver Age comics, and not a one was X-Men, which to me at that age was very disappointing. But the comics trade was, you just did, it was like trading cards. You just kind of filled in your gaps and got those that you wanted.
I did the same thing with Image comics. I would trade like do you all remember the Image comics that came with the coupons? And the coupons to get that Image Zero was like the most sought after comic book. Every one of those, I think there were supposed to be 7, but in the end, I think only 6 of them were published. But I had 5 of them, and I remember trading them for a huge run of Uncanny X-Men. And I was like, man, I just paid like cover price for those. I just knew where to find them. And that's how I was able to track down like a lot of the past issues of X-Men by John Byrne, or things I was missing, because you always, as a collector, single issues, you always had those missing gaps. And you couldn't, and there wasn't a place you could read online, right? Like that's the crazy thing to think about. Is nowadays you're like, I'm gonna read this Dark Phoenix story, like Lars said. Yeah. Back then we either had to find a trade paperback or try to find back issues. because even the masterworks that were out of print were super expensive for kids too. Like back then, they were hard.
Do you remember having like handwritten lists? Now we would have spreadsheets or crushing prices.
Yeah, I
do
did.
You remember just having handwritten lists of like all the issues you needed to fill in?
Absolutely.
So if you went to a comic book store, you would like take it out and.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love visiting my my relatives in Pennsylvania and Illinois because there were different comic book stores. And there was one little hole in the wall comic book store that this guy, I don't even know how he ran this place, but it was just like, it's my kind of shop, not yours. But he had like stacks of comics on the floor, and I was like, I'm here looking for these issues, and he's like, maybe they're down there somewhere. And I would spend hours while my mom and dad, who are saints, would just wait in the car. And my dad would come in sometimes going, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
You've been here an hour.
I don't know
And
about
I'm like, but I
that.
can't find the freaking issue. I know it's in here somewhere. And as soon as I walk out, my arch nemesis is going to walk in and buy it. I had like a fictional arch nemesis.
Oh. Paul, thank you for the super chat. I can afford to buy Omnis, which means I have shelter, food, and clothes. I'm very grateful for that. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Too, Paul.
I mean, if shelter, food, and clothes are important to you, then I guess okay. You know,
I have enough comics to build a shelter out of those, so it's kind
No,
of
exactly.
Yeah.
Until it rains, and then you're just SOL.
No, they're in plastic.
Carlos is grateful for New Warriors.
God bless you, Carlos. Me too. The issue where the
Aw.
Punisher fights Night Thrasher was my first comic and forever changed my life. Well, let me see. I think I've already shared this, but this will give you a small tease as to next Thursday's show, where we go over the solicits, the Marvel solicits. But let me just show you this here. I still use my handwritten list. You know, old school me did too, up until maybe like 5 years ago. Like I stopped, and then I started using just my phone. That's like, but there you go. Look, New Warriors Nova and Night Thrasher Omnibus.
Lovely.
With both covers. It's a huge book, 1,320 pages. This one's also $150
I
though.
like the Bagley cover.
But yeah, we will be going over the full solicits next Thursday. For Marvel.
Do you feel like there's some kind of New Warriors thing coming on the horizon? Like, I love New Warriors. I especially like Night Thrasher and Nova's solo series. But to get an omnibus of that we're digging deep in the Marvel 90s material. Do you think there's some kind of New Warriors? Are they going to pop up in a movie? Are they going to be in Thunderbolts? Like, why are we getting that omnibus?
Can you smell the speedball?
I really don't know. At one time, I thought, oh, maybe they really like me at Marvel and they made an omnibus for me.
They like it. They like it enough to get you the new Warriors. I'll tell you that much.
You got all 3 volumes, baby.
Uh-huh.
And no freaking Inhumans.
Inhumans, yeah. What's
No
that?
love for
It would make
Inhumans,
such a
no
good
love for
omnibus to Matt.
Champions. And I wanted to share this because my buddy Curtis is here, but again, we'll go into detail when we go over these next Thursday. It is the trade dress for Ultimate X-Men, which I think dropped on PRH already. Curtis, the Ultimate Spider-Man was just red, right?
Yep, and this one is X-Men Gold. And I assume that Fantastic Four will be blue.
Blue. Yeah. And
It's not bad.
Sassmer, truer words, my friend. Truer words have never been spoken.
Good heaven.
Damn humans. What? What was your first? Okay, we know Lars' first collected edition. What about you, Dom? You came from an era where Sinestro Corps was the brand new thing. So what
are we gonna just rag on me being young and not like reading comics 20 years before?
Yep.
Oh, you'll appreciate jokes like that when you're in your 40s. You're gonna be like, oh, I wish people would drag on me about being young again.
Yeah.
What was? Because
when you talk about it, we drink up your youth in like a vampire way. We actually.
I was mostly joking.
Well, when you came into comics, it was like you had access to single issues. There were trade paperbacks. Because when is this? 2005? 2007, right? Yeah, 2007. So yeah, there were hardcovers. There were trades.
Did you have Netflix paralysis?
I know that my parents did. I can't speak for myself, but if I can actually reach it, it's on the top of my shelf. Gosh.
Sure. Don't break anything. Gargoyles comics. You know, those are finally being collected.
Oh.
I'm buying Punisher Max and Flash.
Punisher Max. Nothing says the holidays like Punisher Max.
There was a holiday. Well,
yeah, he had holiday specials.
Yeah,
I just finished reading that as it happens. I was, oh boy, yeah, it's a lot.
New DC catalog. Catalog won't be out until February probably, or maybe like January.
So I got these as a present from my cousin and uncle. Simultaneously helped me sort of get into comics. They knew that like I watched all the DC shows, whether they were airing on Cartoon Network or on Boomerang as reruns. And she said, hey, there's a whole bunch of New 52 stuff. Let's go get Dom as many of these as possible. So I had these. I have Court of Owls in my closet and a couple of other New 52 books. And yeah, these were my first collected editions. I decided to go upgrade all of my Justice League trades to the Omnis, but yeah, New 52 was my jam when I was a teenager. Like I was reading all that stuff. So that was the part of my life where I was a lot less critical and more so like, hey, these are the only comics I can read. Might as well gobble up as much of them as possible. So a lot of that era of DC is still fresh in my head. But I'm always going to be forever thankful, weirdly, for New 52 sort of getting me in and breaking me in. As opposed to, hey, like here's a couple random Green Lantern issues that are being given to me by my uncle when I was in elementary school, middle school. Like that was all I was reading.
John, thank you for the super chat.
Look, Dom, it isn't our fault you weren't reading comics before you were born. You weren't such a slacker. You'd be first as us. What's a foggy?
Fogey. He meant fogey.
Fogey?
Yeah,
Oh, fogey. Oh,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I will say Dom has actually been killing it on the overviews of DC Finest, meaning he is going through Golden Age and Silver Age reading, and that's not easy. He just went through Silver Age Flash. Not a lot of people have read those things and finished it.
Oh,
Dom?
it's delayed.
It's super impressive how fast he's going through those books because they are so fast.
I just finished it.
Go ahead, Dom.
These are pretty much the only thing I'm doing at night. Like after like 10 p.m., I'm like, you know what? Let me just set aside 2 hours. I'm done with homework, done with studying. I'm just gonna read these as quick as possible, long as possible. I'm enjoying the heck out of them. I think Silver Age Flash has oddly been one of my favorite like current reads, but it's fun. It's filled with lots of great character moments. It's Carmine Infantino drawing the heck out of Barry and whatever other villain, whether it's Mirror Master, Captain Cold. It's so much fun. I can't believe I'm having a fun time reading some of these older comics. So
you were a fast reader because those are like 600 pages.
Those are surprisingly readable. Those Flash and Green Lantern comics, as opposed to the Silver Age Batman and Superman.
I found those Justice League issues a little rough at times.
Ooh,
those Justice League, Justice Society issues. Well, not just rough, but also repetitive. Like, we've done that like 3 issues back. Where is your editor? Any thoughts on the Madman Library editions? Worth it. I know Jess is a big fan of Mike Allred, and I know he has the library editions. My thoughts are you better like Mike Allred, because you're committing to getting $600 retail price worth of books when all 6 library, because each one is $100 for the library editions of Madman.
And it's all his creator-owned stuff, so it's going to be the
Superman issues in there too, though, right? I think in the 3rd volume.
3rd volume, that sounds right. But that's because Madman's in it. But okay, I see what you're saying. But it's also his earliest work that he didn't really want to. I have to go base the turkey, and that means what I mean it to mean: base the turkey.
Keep saying it like in that tone, Jess. Just keep saying it. Base that turkey.
So it's all his creator-owned stuff. So like Forager the Bug won't be in there from Kirby's 4th World, and no Superman Space Age, but it's going to be all the Madman and Atomic stuff, and then his earliest work. So I I personally like seeing an artist's growth like that. I don't know. It's going to be the earliest Madman too. I think Omar's right. It's a commitment to really want to spend that much money. You have to like the character and the artist, and he's the writer too. So I think they are, but you're going to have to decide out there if it's for you or not. It was worth it for me.
It was definitely worth it for me.
Yeah, like you really have to love his artwork or just love the character of Madman, which a lot of people do. And I mean, so it really depends on you. And like I said, that's retail price too. What indie comic are you all most grateful for? Indie comic.
Give him a gift.
Oh, I'm sorry.
her.
That's right. Okay.
There we go.
Failed. There you go.
Indie comic.
There's
Let's
so
see.
many features when Melanie is here. How interesting.
Lars, how would you define an indie comic?
Are we defining it as basically anything that's not Marvel and DC?
Anything, I would say anything that Wizard would not put on the cover of the
Well, Image is always on the line with this one because when we think of indie, we often think non-Marvel, non-DC, and yet Image is a big company and some of their properties are huge. So I don't know. That's always a little tough one.
Okay.
Because if we're talking indie properties, I mean, if we're going purely non-Marvel, non-DC, I would say Transformers more than meets the eye. Which is it's a stunning comic that everyone needs.
I am so damn proud of you, Lars.
Thank you.
Like my level of respect for you was down here, and now it's
now it's
a little bit higher than down here.
Yeah, slightly above the swamp. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I love that book.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But
I for sure thought you were going to go with a Doctor Who comic or something.
Well, yeah, but is Transformers truly, is it truly indie? I mean, this is the problem. So if you were going from any non-major publisher, it's a little hard to know where to draw the line. Weirdly, I have because it's Peter David, I have a strange affection for Soul Searchers and Company, which was his kind of parody series done with what was the name of the publisher? I can't remember. Now that I'm put on the spot. But yeah,
same people that did Plasm, those books.
No, that was Defiant. But yeah, Soul Searchers and Company was this wonderful black and white series by Peter David, and Amanda Connor did the covers, and yeah, it was absolutely delightful.
JT Gamer, like Christian Crisis said, just look up Kallax on IKEA, and those are great. Those are great bookshelves.
Mm-hmm. There's a Walmart version of them too. Like
he's saying that, but Walmart did not work.
Walmart didn't. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
How much?
Billy, the Billy bookcases from IKEA that are half width don't bend. That's what I have all of my Epic collections on, and they do not. Those shelves do not bow at all.
There you go. My first collected books were the Treasury editions, the Origins of the Marvel type books, and then the pocket size collection. So hooked back then. That was a long time ago. Those are some of the earlier ones. What about you, Dom? What's the indie comic you're most grateful for? Yes, Youngblood.
We're not calling comic strips indies, right?
You know what? It's whatever.
Well, I don't think like Peanuts is an indie comic. I mean, for God's sakes, but yeah.
Because I was gonna say Calvin and Hobbes as a mention, but still. But yeah, like I was in middle school. My teacher had all the Calvin and Hobbes like large whatever collections sitting in the back. And because I was always done with homework early, I was I was doing pretty well in school and all that. Only thing I would do for like study hall, extra time, friends were outside. Only thing I was doing was reading those collections. Night in front, light and day. I skipped 7th grade, and my parents decided to gift me with the hardcover set of Calvin and Hobbes. So,
good for you. That's a good choice.
And now you're younger than ever. You skipped 7th grade.
You skipped 7th grade.
I was the youngest graduate of my high school. So,
Boys and Elves is a good choice. I haven't read that in forever.
Strangers in Paradise.
I think often of Strangers in Paradise. It's just hard because if you only had one book to choose for indie. What about you, Peter? One indie book. What is it?
I don't know about just one. I feel like I so often just talk about the ones that are in arm's reach of my shelf, but one that I really love is Heathen, that I haven't really heard us talk about on the channel too much. from Vault, and this is an all-in collection of it by Natasha Alterici, although she had some other artists. It's just a really lovely story about this young girl kind of in a Norse village who gets sent, kind of exiled from her village, and has to go on a quest, and on the course of the quest kind of encounters all of these Norse gods, and has to decide if she really believes them or not. It's really great, and it stands out in my mind because I hadn't had a physical issue of it. I kept hearing about it. It was really hot when it first came out. It was one of Vault's launch books. And I was in San Francisco, and it was right before we moved to New Zealand. We're like on the way, and I had a 2-day stopover, and I went to some comic shops with some internet friends, and they were like, well, what are you even going to buy? Like, you have everything. I said, you know what? I really want to get the first trade of Heathen so I can like read it and have something to read on the plane. And so this came out much later, but that one always sticks out to me as like one of the first comics that I had physically in New Zealand, and also one of the last comics I had physically in the United States.
I like that. That's a good pick. Not a lot of people. I think when most people go like
Here, really quick.
These
Vince,
savage
thank you
shorts.
going for fighting with my family at dinner. I wanted to say one more time how thankful I am the NFC, the community. Much love, Hermanos. Thank you.
Oh, thank
I hope you
you,
don't fight. There
Bunk.
you go.
Peace and love, Bunk.
Yeah, I think when most people think of Vault, and again, their very first big hit was the These Savage Shores, right? Like,
yeah, which I also love.
Which is a phenomenal book, and I'm still waiting on that hardcover. They've been telling me it's coming for 2.5 years now. Oh wow, Atomic Robo, that's a good one. Curtis, I know you mentioned. Would you say the Tick? That's the one.
Thank you, Logan.
The class.
I love this. This is one of the earlier. I watched the cartoon first. Whenever that came out was in '96, I think, and then I randomly found some comics in a comic book store. I'm like, wow, this is really awesome. And so that was one of my first excursions, kind of outside of Marvel and DC, was finding the Tick. So that's definitely where it's at for me.
And what about you, Max? I guess indie came what you were reading first. Like Tintin's a huge hit over there. Right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't,
but not so much here.
That's not a indie comic though.
No, it's
you
huge.
Go to America and go to a comic book shop and show me where their Tintin is.
Well, yeah, indie here.
I'm just saying, like here in America, like I think I have walked into one comic shop, and that was Third Eye Comics that actually had Tintin. That's it.
Yeah, it's a huge thing here. Like the comic store in the city I grew up in was named after an issue of Tintin, but we don't call it Tintin because it's in Dutch, so we call it Kuifje, which just means Kuif is like when you have the front part of your hair like stand up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like
because
Tintin
had the thing.
And Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. What's it called? Like a pompadour or something?
Pompadour. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what it's called. We also have Suske and Wiske, which is a very popular thing here, or used to be, when people still read things. But from any things that I've started to read when I, started getting into comics, I'd say either TMNT, the IDW run, or Ice Cream Man.
Two good choices. TMNT, solid. I like that incarnation of the Turtles. Chris, best indie. What are you most thankful for?
Best
Radiant
indie.
Black? You're a big Radiant Black guy.
I'm a big Radiant Black guy, but I'm going to go with what got me into indies way back when I started get back into collecting back in college is Criminal by Brubaker and Phillips.
Good choice.
So ever since I picked up those first issues, I've been a day one buy for anything Brubaker and Phillips. It's not even a question. I don't even care what it is at that point, and I cannot tell you how psyched I am to see the series come to Amazon. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Man, this is a really tough one. I'm still thinking. What about you, Jess? What's the indie title you're most thankful for?
Boy, I don't know. I can
Lady
tell you
Mechanica.
what I'm. Sorry?
Lady Mechanica. You're a big Lady Mechanica guy.
That's true. I do love Lady Mechanica. Okay, that's my answer. I was going to say I'm reading Gail Simone's Red Sonja, and that's so great. And I love Dynamite's Vampirilla, Red Sonja. I like all those books. But yeah, you're probably right. Lady Mechanica is the one that I have the most fun reading. Yeah, it is great.
Man, this is tough because I thought about things like that I love, like Harrow County and Hellboy. Like Hellboy's huge because it built like the whole BPRD universe. I think Strangers in Paradise, or you know what? Probably Fear Agent. Fear Agent is probably my favorite indie book, and that truly was like when they were taking a chance with Rick Remender back then, because that was before his X-Force book came out. Like there was no Uncanny X-Force, and when that book came out, like that blew his name up, and people would, you know, they were all over Rick Remender stuff after that.
Okay, I have an answer. Not well, I mean, I'm going to answer my favorite indie, not necessarily I'm thankful for, and then I'm going to share my list of what I'm thankful for. My favorite thing is Monsters. I love that book. Can't put it down. Just, oh my gosh, volume 1 and 2, it's so good. I can't wait for 3. I hope she makes 3. I can't imagine how much work it takes, but yeah, my favorite thing is Monsters.
Hold on. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, Warren tried and hated. Thank you, Warren.
Everything good.
I love you, Warren.
I know I stepped into a different or an alternate reality if Warren agrees that something I love. And I also love that too.
Did you get Did you get Bruce's super chat last night?
Which one's that? Yes, I did.
And what about any thoughts on Man?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so
I also like Black Sad that the latest volumes just come out.
Oh yeah.
Just speak up a little bit for Black Sad. It's really great.
The comics I'm thankful for are Ultimate Spider-Man, the first Ultimate Spider-Man, version 1.
Really?
Because that really got me. I'm great. Wait, back up. I'm grateful for Sandman because that got me into comics more, and then Ultimate Spider-Man because that was the first collected edition.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Apparently, I really liked it. I don't think I like it now, but so I'm thankful for it. And Masonic Koku because that was the first book you let me borrow, and that got me into manga. And so I'm thankful for Berserk because the complete opposite end of the spectrum because of just how great it is. That's blurring the line between favorite book and what I'm thankful for. Straczynski Spider-Man run, before bad things happen. I'm grateful for that because we were newlywed or about to get married or something, and it was really romantic. And then they weren't married anymore. But I remember photocopying and you emailed me or something, a couple of panels.
Oh yeah.
A couple of times panels from Straczynski's run. And then I'm thankful for Deadpool and Cable because it's such a fun read.
Fabian Nicieza would be in tears right now. Putting him up there with Berserk and
Straczynski's my
book.
So I was trying to differentiate between favorites and what I'm thankful for. So, Berserk, that kind of just got on there because I really, really like it.
Berserk is a masterpiece. Like, even if it never ends, it's a masterpiece. I'm thankful for Chew. I love Chew. I hope
that is a good one.
They continue that second series. Off the top of my head, Bone, Castle Waiting. Castle Waiting is excellent, by the way. That made it into one of my hidden gems a few years back. Astro City, Sin City, Nocturnals, Hack Slash, TMNT, OG, Mirage Era, Quantum, and Woody, plus the original comics or the Chaos comics. Oh, Lady Death and
that was that was some great taste.
Yeah,
Derek, I love you.
I'm thankful for the work of John Wagner and Garth Ennis.
Let's see, Garth Ennis did Punisher, right?
Yeah.
Episode point. Okay, so just really quick, Hunter from oh my gosh, what's his comic store?
Sentinel Comics.
Sentinel Comics. He donated free single issues for students to pick out, and I gave a box to the library, and then there's a box in my room. So we were in the library Tuesday, and I was like, "What'd you pick out?" And she shows me it's Punisher, and I was like, "Who's the author?" Mature content. Haha, that's not the author. Didn't even enter my head. Like, oh, maybe that shouldn't be in that box. I don't want to get in trouble. She's fine. She's a senior. I'm not worried about it. But you know
She's going home and saying, "Mom, did you know that
it did not
superheroes
enter
can
my head?" I'm like, "It's fine."
Superheroes.
And I was like, "Oh, Garth Ennis. Yeah. Okay, I've never read Punisher. Let me know if you like it." And I just made a joke about mature content being the author.
You did. He wrote the Punisher Max line. Like that was in there.
Yes.
You know, depending on the issue, that could be like a weird awakening for her. Like I didn't know people did that.
It'll be okay.
Oh, dude, Witch
I
Hat
want to read
Atelier.
that. That art is so gorgeous.
Yeah, you like the way she draws her feet.
Her feet. Mwah.
Preacher was one of my first and such an enjoyable.
And I still haven't read
Love Preacher. I love the ending to Preacher. Does anyone know if Busick is still working on anymore? I don't know if he's doing Aerosmith anymore, and I think right now they're just focusing on the big edition of Astro Cities, what he's trying to get out.
Matt, I hope your week gets better.
This past month's been tough. The last week's terrible, but talking, joking with you all has kept me sane, semi-sane. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad everybody is here. I did promise Jake and Josh they could come in to swap. Is anybody tired? Does anybody want to bounce out? No, I'll take that as a no. Excellent. Okay.
Why'd you look at me?
Why don't you ask the panel a question, Melanie? Who's your favorite X-Men and why? Is it Wolverine?
Okay. Why did you ask me and then ask the question?
I don't know. It's the way my brain works.
Okay. But I did make the list, you guys. If you want to talk about that, favorite X-Men, let's go.
What? I was just kidding.
What? But I made a list. See, it's right here.
Oh.
Remember we talked about doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys think of some of your favorite X-Men's.
Oh my gosh! Like
From
Peter even has to think.
From any title. It doesn't have to, right? Whatever. I did differentiate. Okay. Cable. Well, not in any particular order. Cable, Wolverine, Storm, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Kitty, Emma, Hope, Stepper Cuckoos, and Strong Guy. Those are my top 10.
Strong Guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Strong
That's
Guy
a
is
bold
funny.
choice. That's a bold choice. What about you, Dom, of X?
No, man, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
What?
You're not
It's
say
too
I'm gonna
intimate.
get fired if I say it.
It's your password to everything, and then we'll know.
Exactly.
Say Deccan?
Oh.
Deccan?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
I hate that guy. Is it Gold Balls and Maggot? How are you going to get fired?
Someone from his childhood, Gold Balls.
Were you bullied with those names?
Well, he goes by Egg now, so I don't know if that's applicable.
That's not a lot better, if we're being honest.
All right. What do we got? What do we got, Dom? If you don't answer, I'm going to
Can
answer.
I go with my
John,
third
you're
favorite?
among friends.
We'll go with my third. How about that?
What?
You'll go with what?
We'll go with my third favorite.
Coward.
Who's your third favorite?
No.
What's happening here?
I don't. Is your third favorite like Cyclops?
Lots of people in the chat are saying Cyclops.
Yeah, Cyclops is a great X-Men. Who's your? No matter what, you're not gonna get hate. Mel.
No. It's okay.
Wait,
What?
is Strong Guy like a bad character?
No,
Who doesn't like Strong Guy?
No, never seen anybody. Play
I love Strong Guy.
I like
Guido. I
Guido
love
too,
doing
but
his
it's
voice.
not like-
Peter David.
Read
I
out
love
loud.
Strong Guy
Because he has a
Omar.
personality over like Thunderhawk or even
Okay, first of all, his name is
I mean, you gotta
Thunderbird,
love
not
that little
Thunderhawk.
hair he's got going on there. You know.
And Boom Boom's boring.
Whoa!
And I don't really like Cannonball. And
He's from Kentucky.
so
How would you not like Cannonball? All right, Dom,
Oh, there's
let's
Josh.
do it.
Top
Give me
three
five.
are Scott,
Top-
Jean, and Laura for my faves X-Men.
Scott, Jean, and
Okay.
Laura. It's okay.
Oh,
You were afraid of
respect
having
this.
good taste. What was the
Yeah,
fear there?
I don't know why you were embarrassed about
I
that.
have no idea.
No, Laura's a
See,
great character.
My
At least
thought
in-
was Omar was going to pull in a Logan joke, and we would throw in. I have no idea, honestly.
that's the,
Okay.
so that's the throuple you want to see instead of Logan.
No, that's no.
Well, I
That,
agree with that.
See,
I
you
agree
brought
with
that joke upon yourself, Dom. That was not
that
going
is
to happen.
true.
until
That
you-
is true.
Yeah, that's a Streisand effect.
That's what I always think of when I think of top three.
Yeah, Jean Grey, I'm not a fan of. She didn't make my list.
Oh, I like
She's okay.
I feel
What
like it's
about you,
impossible
Lars?
for me to single out a character though, because I think I have like 25 of them I love. So
Well, that's why it's top 10.
Yeah, Melanie went with the top. Everybody's got a top 10 X-Men list, right?
I have a top 100.
Okay, how about let's just do a 10?
I'm
Who are
good
your other
with
characters?
No, Pat, that is not me. I'm sorry, Cold.
Thunderbird was his brother.
Oh, oops.
Thunderhawk is the made-up character you came up with. That's okay though.
No OCs.
All right, Dom, you want to give us some more? Who are some of your other favorites? All right, who you got?
I think Rogue's my number 4. Storm's my number 5. Beto's my number 6, or Sunspot. Sam Cannonball's my number 7. Prodigy is 8. Who's my 9? I keep flip-flopping it on my list every single time.
That's okay, Dom. There's no wrong answer.
Blink's number 9.
Ooh, good one.
Ooh,
and
I like that.
That is a good one.
Who's my number 10? I think Ileana made it to the top. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, Ileana's 10. So, yeah, here's my 10.
All right, cool.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And just in time to join us for the X-Men chat. Josh, can you name 3 X-Men?
Oh, I don't know. Wait a minute. Sorry. I don't know. Let's see. Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Storm, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Colossus.
Those are your
Sunspot,
favorites. Go.
Magneto, Professor X, Beast.
Okay, that's it. You're good. Those are your top 10. Got it. Lars?
Actually, no, really, my top 10 or my top 3: Rogue, Nightcrawler. Oof. I hate to, mixture between Beast and Wolverine. I think they're tied.
Beast and Wolverine. Okay. Same here. Lars?
I'm not sure what would constitute an embarrassing answer to this, actually. Are there any embarrassing answers? Like, I really like the guy who turns into ice cream.
Maggot.
I
mean, you could choose Santa Claus. Technically, canon Omega level mutant.
Who's that character that Oddfell and you really like, Peter? That's in the background that eats ice cream. Scoop. What's that character's name?
Soft serve.
Yes. I thought they were trolling me. Nope, that's a real thing.
No, we really thought she was on the cover of NYX. We were like,
yes,
so
that's what it was.
Like, yes, soft serve supremacy. No, it's a step for Cuckoo.
What?
I have a fun X-Men fact. My professor, like one of my first professors, Rob Atkins, he used to do the G.I. Joe comics. He was a ghost artist. I forgot on which X-Men. He came up with the character Big Ear Boy because whenever he had to draw like the kids in the background, he always would have a mutant with giant ears. And he's like, doesn't have super hearing, just has giant ears.
Giant ears. Interesting.
So for me, so you know how there's just people you meet and you become very fast friends with, okay? So I met this guy and we were becoming fast friends, and then one time he just walked into the room, no preamble, no nothing, and he goes, Lars, who's your favorite superhero of all time? And I go, Nightcrawler, obviously. And I go, who's your favorite superhero of all time? He goes, Nightcrawler, obviously. So we were Nightcrawler buds, yes.
Do you still keep up with him?
Awesome.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys picked the one guy that was like a Legion of Superhero reject.
In fact, I am certain that individual does not know. But yes, the other Nightcrawler story I have, because he's indeed my favorite, is that Wizard one time did send us out. They gave us the day off and sent us on a scavenger hunt. And you had to go all over the place. And you had to take a picture of someone with a tattoo. Well, none of us had any tattoos. So but the local comic book shop, I knew the manager quite well. And I said, let's stop in there. I've never seen a tattoo on him. I bet you he has a tattoo. He's the sort of person that I bet you he has a tattoo. And so we go in, I go running up to him. I go, do you have a tattoo? And he sighs. And he pulls up his shirt and his entire back is Nightcrawler.
Wow.
I mean, he had committed. He had really committed.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So Nightcrawler. If we're picking top 3, it's Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, Rachel Summers.
Look at your choice. Hell of a choice.
John, thank you for the super chat.
Ultimate Warrior Comics, the Insane Clown Posse Comics, Trouble, the Avengers, The Crossing. Okay. First of all, best is Avengers, The Crossing, then the Ultimate Warrior Comics.
Yes.
And then Insane Clown Posse, and then Trouble. Because Trouble, no matter what, will always be at the bottom because it is awful. Awful. I've only met one person that liked Trouble, and that was another guy that was on Omni Bros, and he left just recently.
He left. He was exiled.
I'm going to pass what I'm talking about. So actually, for him, it kind of makes sense. Like,
look, I just want to point out, though, Trouble, out of all this list, Trouble is the only one that not only did NMC do an official book club for, but they gave out deluxe versions of. So if anything, Trouble is the top of your list.
Avengers had an omnibus. Peter, give me your top 10. I know you think about this every day. Top 10.
Dude, it's so hard. It's really, really difficult. I would say like all-time favorite. Other ones come and go, but Rogue is. I love Rogue. I love when Rogue is written well. I love Mike Carey's X-Men Legacy. I love when Rogue has control of her powers or her powers change. I'm a sucker for good Rogue content. So that's my number one of all time. I would say also probably number two, Lars. I can't believe it's in your top three. I'm so excited. Rachel Summers.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean,
Chris Claremont would be so proud of you too.
Yes.
And then I would say also, even though Academy X was when I was older, I really imprinted on those Academy X kids. I really, really loved them. So I think my next three would be like Surge, Hellion, and Lara. I would read Academy X as like the main X-Men. I always say, even though I like Rogue, I love Kitty, I love Jean so much, I'm ready to put away all the X-Men from like before 1981 or 1984. I'm done. We've had enough stories. Like I'm cool. Let's have characters later than that be X-Men. But Jean Grey, of course, another one of my all-time favorites. What am I up to now? 6. I have 4 more. Chamber. Magic. Mr. Sinister.
Wait, I want to put him on my list. Does that count?
And
was he?
I don't know.
He was the Hellions.
I guess probably Nightcrawler. Well, you know, when Hickman said, you know, all the mutants are going to be in Krakoa, even Mr. Sinister, he said it like after Krakoa was announced, and all these people tweeted at him, Mr. Sinister's not a mutant. And Hickman's reply was, watch me work.
Which when you said magic, which magic are you doing? Ileana or Amanda?
Oh, you know what? I would almost kick out Nightcrawler from my top 10 to put Amanda Sefton in there.
Yes!
I love Amanda Sefton.
Another Amanda Sefton fan. Ugh.
Okay. I'm taking out Stepford Cuckoos and I'm putting in Mr. Sinister. I like Hope better than Rachel.
What?
You people have fancy lists and things.
Also, Husk.
Your own house does not read X-Men.
Love Monet. I love all Generation X. Sync. So happy he's not dead anymore, right? Like,
oh man, has Skin come back?
Yeah. They in the Hickman books, they said they brought Sync back, and he was having trouble adjusting from the data page. Yeah, let me cook. So on a data page, they said that because Sync was having trouble adjusting, they prioritized Angelo's resurrection, even though he wasn't really necessary to the cause, because they thought it would make Sync's acclimation easier.
All right, man. I love this. Is how I judge people. Max.
Cable.
Okay.
Hope. Psylocke. Honey Badger.
Which Psylocke?
Yes.
Which
Nice.
Psylocke?
Oh, well, I'm not gonna. You can leave that for your own interpretation. I'm gonna go to the before Krakoa.
Okay.
And that, because otherwise it'll get. Where am I at now? 5? I forget. Nightcrawler. Did I say Rogue? I don't think so. Rogue.
The toughest.
Yeah, I gotta go with Miss Sinister and Magic.
Not Nanny or Dupe or
I said Nanny. Didn't I say Nanny?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, I'll swap anyone for Nanny.
Oh, okay, there you go.
She's the top egg.
Look at
Nanny.
Let me correct one. Let me throw out. I don't know. We can throw out Mrs. Sinister. You gotta put Dupe.
Dupe. That makes sense.
My boy.
Okay. Is someone typing?
Somebody's typing is getting intense.
Whoever's typing needs to mute.
They're replying back to an angry comment.
Oh wait, Omar, you were saying you judge people by their answer here? Is that what
Absolutely, I do.
Well, you know, in interviews, I used to ask people throw in the question. I was like, "Who's your favorite Muppet?" And if they responded, "What's a Muppet?" I'd be like, "Get the hell out of here." You know?
The great
What's
Gonzo.
a Muppet?
What's a Muppet?
Charles Dickens.
You're fired before you've been hired.
Okay.
Bar has
Charles
a good
Dickens is the correct answer.
and I was going to get
Favorite
to
Muppet is
after
Janice,
that.
obviously.
For sure.
For sure, man.
Thanks to Jess for the multi-part videos in the vault on how to start building a DC and Marvel collections for beginners. They started me on the road to becoming a new collector.
Yay.
Oh, that's
Peace
awesome.
and love. Thank you. That's really nice of you. Thank you, Safar.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Good for Jess.
Jess, who are your favorite X-Men?
Well, we skipped Curtis.
Well, actually, I actually do kind of got to go, so I can give them and then go.
Go for it. Go for
Thank
it.
you for having me. Magic, Emma, Psylocke, Quanon, Rogue, Laura Kinney, Stepper Cuckoos, Kate Pride. There we go.
Which of
There's
the
a
Stepford
theme. I'm
Cuckoos are
not
your
sure what it
favorite?
is. There's a theme.
Me, Max,
Which
and
of my
Jess.
Stepper Cuckoos?
Which of the Stepford Cuckoos is your fave? There's 5 of them.
The 2 dead ones that they brought back to life. I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for having me. Happy Thanksgiving, Omar. I hope you're doing okay. It's good to see you. Thanks
see you
everybody
too,
for having me. Thank you, buddy.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jess.
Yeah, good.
Bye.
Yes.
Jack, thank you for the super chat.
Viva Peru, carajo. My first comic was a beat-up copy of Batman 251 that I swiped from a kid's dentist's office. He was the sadist, so it's all...
Okay, so
oh,
it's
he was-
all good.
well, that has a happy ending.
You were stealing from children. Oh no.
No, from the dentist that was not a good person, apparently. All right, Curtis, you're on the spot here. This is very important. Most important question you've been asked
True.
today.
Because Omar gets judgy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Nightcrawler, obviously.
There it is. There it is.
So,
A lot of people.
initially, I mean, Nightcrawler is awesome, and he is my favorite. And initially, he was my favorite because, you know, when I was 12 or whatever, he had the same name as me, even spelled with a K.
Oh.
And like that's pretty awesome when you can find a Curtis with a K. So Kurt Wagner, my favorite, absolutely, and he's just such a great character. Other than that, I definitely have a fondness for the Jim Lee era versions of like Rogue and Gambit and stuff like that, Colossus. But I think the most of my top 10 is filled with Generation X characters because I just absolutely love that book. And all of those characters are so great. So, you know, Chamber, Husk, M, Sync, Jubilee, even Penance. So
Mondo?
all of those guys.
No love for Mondo.
No love
Huh,
for
what?
No love for Mondo.
Mondo was never on the team.
Ah, a band that has actually read the comics. All right, Chris. Most important question you're going to be asked today.
Oh, not like which one you're going to start first, the turkey or the stuffing?
No, not today.
No, not today. Okay.
10 X-Men.
All right, X-Men.
Anything.
It's Boo Hiss, but Wolverine's always been my favorite. But I can go over my top list. Magneto, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler. What am I at? 5. Kitty, Emma Frost, X-23, and Multiple Man.
There you go, John. I thought about Multiple Man from my list, but I took him out for Strong Guy.
It was because of Peter David's run. He wouldn't have entered it.
Okay.
It wouldn't have entered it because outside of Peter David's run.
Gotcha.
All right.
I thought about Lockheed, but
For me, well, Lockheed comes with Kate Pride, so that's
oh,
how
okay. Yeah.
that's how I'm using that as a loophole. Yeah, Wolverine, number 1. Absolutely. Logan.
Shocker.
None of this James
Who would've
Howard
known?
nonsense. Logan, number 1.
Storm.
It would be Rogue, Storm, Longshot, and this is where I agree with Peter. I love Surge. She does not get enough respect. Surge would definitely be on my list. Archangel, and I love the character. I love that character. Doesn't get enough respect. Angel, I can do without. But Archangel, what a tortured soul. That's when the X-Men are best. When they're these tortured souls. I really like Iceman when he's written by the right, the right person. I think Iceman kills it. Yes, Logan, not James. Absolutely not James. Emma Frost, And how many I got left? Two more slots left. Oh, I got to give it to one of the Gen X kids. No, I got to go with Sunspot. When I was a kid, I was very much like Curtis. Like there was a character that kind of looked like me, but did not speak Spanish. He spoke Portuguese, and I'm like, damn it, close enough. Sunspot it is. But then the guy from Kentucky, and I'm like, I do not identify with that guy at all. He was working in the coal mines, and his mom and pa lived on a farm with 55 kids. And every time Claremont would come back to that story, he would add more kids. And all of them happen to be mutants. And then for my last pick, okay, so I've got oh man, this is hard. Lorna, Polaris.
Okay,
Polaris. Yeah, those are my 10.
Possibly the best hair in the X-Men. I'll give Lorna that.
Yeah, and always forever changing it too.
You know what? I gave my list, but I didn't explain it. Like, can I just do whatever you want to do. Bit.
Just do whatever.
Cable because he has the weight of the world on his shoulders and he's older. And Storm and Rogue because of the cartoon. And I like them in the comics as well. But because of the cartoon. And Kitty because of Astonishing X-Men. Emma just because she's such a bitch. Hope because she's crazy. And that's awesome. And Strong Guy because he's funny. And then Mr. Sinister is just so sassy. Like, he's just amazing. I love him. I want to reread that book.
Strong Guy had he's got a couple of really good, sweet stories. That story where he got his mutant powers in X Factor 87, like that origin of his mutant power, I thought that was done really well. It's only like one page where like he gets picked on and his arm starts growing. Oh, I love that story. It's really good. Oh. Peter David really made that character shine. According to Omar, Warren Worthington is only cool during his emo band phase. I find this a valid argument, right? It's not wrong. It's not wrong, man. You tear that dude's wings off and you give him blue skin and metal wings. Metal wings he had no control over. Remember, like, he decapitated Kamikaze? Ironically enough, a dude.
Yes.
I love that story. That was Peter David also.
Okay, so now to Bar's question.
Oh, Bar. We should invite Bar on.
We didn't finish the
Bar's been agitating to come on. Can we get, because now the Jess is off, Bar can be here because they can't be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, let's invite Bar. How do I do that?
I don't invite Bar. We're all good. We do not need that.
Josh, send her that link that I sent you, if you don't mind.
So let me get this right. I have to invite the person I don't want on here. Classy.
Sure.
Happy Thanksgiving. It's only fair.
And then we can ask her what her favorite DC.
Also, Peter, I do have a very good Liefeld story if we ever get to it.
Oh, please. I'd be thankful to hear that. So wait, hold on. While we're getting the Bar technical difficulties worked out. So I just learned last night, I'm sorry, I'm behind the curve, that there's this new Rob Liefeld comic, Last Blood, that you can only get it like physically from him. Like, you have to chase him into a Levi's jeans store and like get it from him in the dressing room or something.
And you have to get blood for it too.
Which was his plan all along. Yeah.
Are the blood splatter covers are just the splatters of blood from the people who've gotten issues from him already? I want it. I have all of Extreme Press. I need it.
You're wearing pajamas.
Is that like continuation of Bad Blood and Badder Blood?
No, it's
an indie nonsense.
Oh,
he did Youngblood, and then he did Brigade and Bloodstrike. And what was the first Pat Lee? Bloodpool? Was that what it was called? Bloodpool, right?
There's but Shaft is on the first cover.
Gosh, man, there was so much talent that he hired. Like, you had, and I'm not a fan of Pat Lee, but Jeff Matsuda on Newman coming in like as a
Newman, working on a Newman guide right now.
And I love the Extreme Prejudice crossover where they're like, nobody cares about these characters. Let's just kill a bunch of them. Supreme. I forgot about Supreme. Boy.
So
the thing is, Liefeld gets so much crap, but he's like an amazing idea guy. And I think that's the case with a lot of those 90s people that we like make fun of now, but the ideas were just so cool, so plentiful, so ridiculous. And then they didn't all get executed greatly, but the ideas were awesome.
So what? NFL D56 put a down payment on a Dodge Viper and then showed the transaction to Liefeld. He still refused to give me a free copy of Last Blood.
What? I don't believe that's true.
So back in like 2010 or so, I signed up to table my first time at HeroesCon. I thought I was going there to show off my wares, to promote myself. That was a lie. I was in the farthest corner with the light broken. Like literally, if this is Simba and Mufasa, I was where the light didn't touch. So my table was the unofficial starting spot for J. Scott Campbell and the Rob Liefeld line. They weren't near me at all. They were like a good 100 feet away from me.
Gotcha.
But their line ended in front of me. So all weekend, this is what I heard. That guy can't draw feet. He's terrible. He's the worst. This is the Rob Liefeld line, right? Yes. Okay. Anyway, he can't draw. It's like, you can talk a lot of crap about Liefeld, but there's two things. He's done more comics than anyone who talks crap about him. And he's got more fans because I can count them for all weekend.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about him. The guy was always putting in the work, and I loved his stuff when I was a kid. Like
Well,
it was a game changer. It was a huge game changer.
He was the guy. This is what I was told from my mentor. He was the guy editors would call when someone would drop the ball, because like no matter the time frame, Rob will deliver. It's like it might not be the best looking thing, but he'd always make a deadline, no matter how tight.
This is a good question for Lars. Is the Great Darkness Saga a good intro to reading the Legion of Superheroes?
I think so, particularly if you get the deluxe edition, which has kind of the issues before it. That's where I started. I started with issue 286, and the Great Darkness Saga rolls around like 4 issues later. And you know, we talk about Legion continuity. There's so much it's confusing. No nonsense. Because like those issues, you know, they only deal with a few Legionnaires at a time, and everyone else stands in the background. So, I mean, if you start, I think you'd be fine if you start reading the Great Darkness Saga. Preferably read the few issues before it. But yeah, it is a good entry point. The art's exquisite.
I liked Brigade for some reason. Brian Murray was on Supreme. Brigade was Marat Michaels, right? Peter, I'm looking at you. I think you're the only one that would know. Marat Michaels.
I'm sorry, I do not have all of the Extreme Press artists.
Dan Fraga was Bloodstrike. Marat Michaels, I think, was.
Super laugh hard. I like your joke.
Oh, Omar, real quick. Before we go on, I do have to go, but I want to say a couple of things real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Before I head out. If my internet doesn't act up in the next 30 seconds, but I want to thank you, especially early on this year, for not only helping out me and myself, but also giving me a platform and helping you guys out with Near Mint Condition and all the amazing people that we have here in the community, along with all the wonderful friends that I've made along the way. And even restart back up again. I hadn't talked to Peter in 4 years, and now it's like we talk weekly, monthly, etc. I'm super grateful to have him back on my side and meeting new people like Lars, Curtis, who I'm now doing collaborations with every month, and everybody else, Chris, Josh helping me out on the stream with Scott a couple of weeks ago. This has been a big blessing, and I'm really thankful for all of you guys, and I would not be here without you.
I can't believe it's been less than a year that Dom's been part of NMC.
Yeah, he's been a big help. He's been a huge help. He is no longer an intern. He is a paid employee of Near Mint Condition. So
He also claimed
off all my taxes, just like your parents, Dom.
Dom also promised us San Diego Comic-Con 2025. He is taking down Omar.
Taking me down?
Yeah.
Down where?
Have a good Thanksgiving, everybody.
Wholesome, Dom.
Number 2.
That was really sweet. Bar's still not ready, I assume. Thankful I was invited to take part on the streams on this channel. Yeah, Brand was amazing at helping us map the DC books. That was a lot of fun. Like mapping those DC Omnis was so much easier when we had somebody like Brand like helping us, because I just remember Peter and I staying up late nights trying to map those books, and
the Marvel one was rough. I mean, it was fun because I'm an easy mark to map anything, but that Marvel map was a chore.
Now it's easy, right? Because we can build on it. Because
somebody just sent me an email saying, "Are we going to be doing it again
next
year?"
I haven't made any announcements yet, but I can tell you a couple of the books that we had on that list on the top 60 we no longer need to have him next year. Just saying.
Good.
I see Bar's here, but she doesn't have a screen. What's going on?
She's on her cell phone, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, Omar versus Dom, Top Gun style. Dom's like 6'5". I think he can out volleyball me. Wally West, Dick Grayson, Kyle Rayner, Connor Hawk, Bart Allen, Connor Kent, Max Mercury, Alan Scott, Ted Knight, Jack Knight. What was the question, Shalom? I'm doing
Are
this.
any of those mutants?
Those are mutants. A lot of speedsters, though. A
favorite
lot of
X-Men?
speedsters. I like that. Come on, Alf. What?
I will
all
say,
right.
if you enjoy
Bar's
Brand,
Favorite X-Men.
great Bar's.
There she is.
Hello.
What was your question, Bar?
Can y'all hear me well? I think
Yes,
my audio
yes.
was
Yeah.
bad. Okay. Yes.
What was your question?
What was the question? Sorry. Oh, what was
Yeah,
my question?
Yes, what was your question?
Oh, what is y'all's favorite DC? Like books that you're thankful for? I felt like this was too
Marvel.
much Marvel.
I have a lot. This place was too much Marvel. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have a lot of favorite DC books. Do you want like omnis or you want like characters or stories?
Let's
or what do you
go,
want?
since we were talking with Marvel, like specifically for X-Men, let's do like for each of your favorite characters or like side of the universe, what are your favorite, like what are the things that you're thankful for? Like for me, if I'm a Batman, I like the Batman universe. So for the Batman comics, I'd say I'm thankful for The Long Halloween and Gotham Central.
Really, you struck me more as a Harley Quinn girl. Can't believe you didn't go with Harley Quinn from
I
the
mean, I'm
Batman.
talking about specifically Batman. I feel
Oh,
like Harley is
Batman.
more of her own thing these days.
Okay. So I do like Batman, and if I had to choose one story from Batman to represent my love of the character, that's tough. Maybe not a story, but maybe I'll do like an omnibus. I'll probably go with something like Paul Dini's omnibus. Paul Dini. I think Paul Dini's did an amazing job on the character, and because I don't think I'm much like you. Harley Quinn and Gotham Central do not count. They're their own universe because Gotham Central is a masterpiece, so that belongs in its own category. So I'm very grateful for that. My favorite Batman event though is Legacy. And that is a trade paperback, but no omnibus yet. Hopefully one day we'll get an omnibus of that. For Aquaman, I got to go with Peter David's run. And if I had to choose one story arc, it would be the Chronicles of Atlantis, which isn't really too Aquaman-y. If you've read it, it's beautiful, though. Wonder Woman, I got to go with Greg Rucka's run. I love Greg Rucka's run. But I'm also, I know what Peter's going to say, because I'm also a William Messner Loeb's fan, so that might be my second choice. Superman is tough, but I gotta go with Man of Steel by John Byrne. Like that was my era of Superman, like getting me into the character. Followed closely by Peter Tomasi's Superman, because I really love that run. I thought he did something completely different with the character. Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner's my boy, but I gotta go with Green Lantern Rebirth.
And I'll come back to your super chat after we're done with the DC question, because that's a good question.
Yeah, I really like this question. This is a great question. Nightwing, I got to go with the Scott McDaniel and Chuck Dixon era of Nightwing. That's my favorite era of Nightwing. Absolutely. I love what Tom Taylor's doing. But there's just something to be said about that thing that you hold nostalgic and why you have so much nostalgia for it. Justice League, got to go with that's Injustice, the Injustice League by Dwayne McDuffie. I think most people go with JLA or JLI or Justice League by Jeff Johns, but I gotta go with Injustice by Dwayne McDuffie. Rest in peace. The guy was phenomenal. Underrated writer. Sandman. What's the one? It's his favorite story. House of oh gosh, what is it called?
Dollhouse?
No, not Dollhouse. It's the third story. It's the fantasy one where they go into the
fantasy. The dreams. Oh yeah, I can't remember what that arc's called.
That's my favorite one.
That's it.
Not a lot of people like
it. That was
Flash. I gotta go with Jeff Johns. I gotta go with Jeff Johns. Flash Blitz in particular.
No Batman Year 2?
No, not to really like represent Batman, right? Like it's one of my favorite Batman stories. I love it, but nah, if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Paul Dini stuff, Omnibus. Followed up by probably Batman Year One over Batman Year Two, and then Long Halloween, things like that. I know, but it's still my favorite. It's still one of my favorites. All right, Lars,
So
take it away.
I lost the thread. Are we naming our favorite DCs, or are we going down every character in order? How should
Just
I?
whatever
Yes.
comes to mind.
Yes.
Apparently. No, well, I get mocked for it, but I'm a big Legion of Superheroes fan. That's
There you go.
That is my favorite. Well,
What's the best Legion story?
the best one, it probably is the Great Darkness Saga. Certainly, that's the most beloved. The one that I personally like the best is I actually like the Universo Project. Even though the art maybe isn't as strong, but the story idea is just tremendous. Legion for me back in the day was I'm really into team books, and there is no bigger team book than that one. And the thing is, and this is at the time in the 80s, you felt like it wasn't just Legion. Like if you're reading X-Men or whatever, you felt like you were reading the story of these characters as they were unfolding. The story was still being forged. Which made it very exciting. Nowadays, with all the reboots and everything else, and just a sense that nothing sticks and death doesn't really matter, I think that's gotten much tougher. But at the time, every issue was a treasure, of Legion or X-Men, because you're like, oh wow, this is the next installment. Very exciting. Justice League International is pretty great because I'm old, and it's just doing the Justice League as a sitcom. My God, I can never get tired of it. So that's good. Aquaman with Peter David's very good. Crisis on Infinite Earths is very good. And a special shout out to Birds of Prey by Gail Simone. I'm not really into Birds of Prey, but when
you don't like girls,
but now stop.
but when like girls superheroes,
but when Gail wrote it, you're like, oh, this is something truly special. This is something really, really special. Yeah, those are the big ones.
What's your favorite event at DC?
It probably is Crisis on Infinite Earths.
The original Crisis?
Yeah. Which I know that some people reading it now struggle a bit with it, or they just, I don't know, they just find it a little impenetrable. But at the time, good God, it was tremendous. And the art is spectacular. George Perez's obsession with including every character is just nuts. I can't really think of one that's would top that one.
No, it's up there for me too. I love that one. I
get
Crisis a little more, but Crisis is.
I can see why other people wouldn't pick Crisis, but
yeah, absolutely. I think it's a classic. What about you, Curtis?
Let's see how Kingdom Come. Does Kingdom Come count as an event? I'm not sure it is.
It was his own little mini.
It's an Elseworld story, so it's maybe a bit different.
Yeah, but it does. I mean, it has affected the entire DC universe. So
yeah,
maybe in a way it's kind of an
event. I'll stick with Crisis though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Curtis?
So I haven't collected a whole lot of DC over my life, but I was a regular follower of the Batman Adventures comic that was the tie-in to the cartoon. And so I followed that through its various incarnations, and my favorite part of it is the last half of when the title was called Gotham Adventures, and it's written by Scott Peterson and drawn by Tim Levins. And those stories were so good. Each one of those issues, each a standalone issue, and they were all fantastic. Some of the best Batman. I absolutely love them.
All right. Chris.
Never been collected. I don't think it's ever been collected.
The Gotham the
Gotham
third
Adventures.
Season?
The last half of Gotham Adventures.
Oh, not yet. But who knows? Maybe the DC Finest line. Chris,
that'd be good.
What about you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go veer off and stay in DC, but looking at basically the Vertigo side at that point. Start off with Swamp Thing, Alan Moore. That leads me to Hellblazer, what I was really excited this year of getting, and on my to-do list more likely for next year is I know it's DC, but I always considered Hitman to be Vertigo more Vertigo than DC.
So out of all the Vertigo titles, that is the one for you.
No, I would say that out of all the Vertigo titles, it's going to be Hellblazer.
Oh, good choice. Which, how much Hellblazer have you read? Like all 300 of the original issues?
No, mine goes with Delano and Garth Ennis and a little bit after Ennis.
Okay. So everybody has their favorite run. A lot of people, I think most people probably go with Garth Ennis as the best Hellblazer writer. And it's solid. It's hard to follow up Garth Ennis. So some close, like Mike Carey's run was phenomenal. I really like his run. So I hope they do that in an omnibus one day.
Fingers crossed.
What about a DC? Like, give me a superhero that you like, and what is like? Because I know you did a lot of that on the podcast. You talked about these characters. You and I talked about Green Lantern.
I'm trying to think, I was like weaving at that point. I would say if I were to choose that one, it would be Green Arrow. Yeah, that would be, Batman's always going to be my favorite, but Green Arrow, his return back from the dead, that was around the time I came back into comics, so that really kind of hooked me back into it. So I'm really excited to see that finally coming into collected editions in Omni format.
Mm-hmm. All right, Peter.
Well, I mean, I'm a massive Wonder Woman fan. I couldn't possibly pick just one run. I love William Moulton Marston classic Golden Age Wonder Woman. I love early Silver Age Wonder Woman. I love early Bronze Wonder Woman, the 12 Labors, that first kind of 10, 12 Bronze issues. I love late Bronze Wonder Woman, right before Crisis. I love Perez, of course. I love, as you mentioned, William Messner Loebs. I'm a massive Wonder Woman fan ever since I probably my earliest memories, long before I had the matching hair. I just love Wonder Woman. But, if we're picking favorite DC's heroes and runs, guess what, buddy? Wildstorm counts. So I own every Wildstorm comic ever. I love all of Wildcats. Gen 13, of course, which had so many great writers over the course of Gen 13. But trying to think of some mainstream DC stuff. I love Greg Rucka's Batwoman. It's one of the comics I've reread the most times in my whole life. I've read it so many times. It's just one of the books I would just get out and reread just for fun. I love Poison Ivy in general. I've always loved the character from the Batman animated series. In the 90s was my introduction to her, not the comics. So I've always been like, where are there good Poison Ivy comics? I remember whenever she would be on the cover of Legends of the Dark Knight in the 90s, I would always buy it. And there's like one really good arc with beautiful covers of her. So the recent G. Willow Wilson Poison Ivy comic is like a dream come true for me. Like, I feel like I've been waiting my whole life to read it. Hawkman, who I've always been Hawkman interested, slightly Hawkman curious. And I never understood like what the allure was or where I should be. Lars is mocking me in silence. But then that
not at all. That
Robert Venditti Hawkman series, it's like its own event. It's just like an event that's one book that just like tells you everything you need to know about Hawkman. I loved it. I love going a little more obscure, Resurrection Man by Abnett and Lanning, which they did like 12 issues of in the late 90s, and they brought it back for New 52 and just like picked it right up and continued it. I have every issue of that because I wanted to get it bound and I just never have, but I love Resurrection Man. I'll do a couple more. I think if you have not read Hellblazer, John Constantine by Simon Spurrier, you are missing out of one of the best comic books that has been released over the past 5 or 6 years. He did one run of it in 2018, 2019, then came back and is just wrapping up or has just wrapped up a run this year. I don't know that any issue of it is less than 4 stars, if not 5 stars. It is absolutely, and that's no disrespect to 300 plus issues of Hellraiser, the vast majority of which I have not read, or Hellblazer, I should say. But Spurrier's take on it is just so perfect. And the art by Aaron Campbell, I think Jordi Belair colors just, oh my God, wow. And then I love Far Sector by N.K. Jemisin. Joe Mullen, I think, immediately became my favorite Lantern. The art by Jamal Campbell, so beautiful. And then I guess my final one, maybe Gotham Academy. And I kind of bought it like begrudgingly, like, kids book with a bunch of made up kid versions of Gotham nonsense. But it is so beautiful. It's so well constructed. It's like one of those books, everybody likes the stupid magic kid with the scar on his head, but there's so many Academy books that are done better than that trash. And Gotham Academy just like is such a perfect academy book. It's such a perfect school book. It has so many like hidden threads and characters that have dark histories and characters that have ways to grow. And it's just so fun, so joyous, so rereadable. You'll notice my DC is a big donut hole in the 2000s because I wasn't reading any DC then. So Rucka Batwoman's like my only 2000s DC. I kind of go right from 80s and 90s DC to like New 52 and beyond. Oh, and I love Crushin' Lobo by Mariko Tamaki. Love Crush, one of my favorite new DC characters.
Peter,
and I love the main man.
All that Wonder Woman love, just to not mention her in the evergreen list. Just saying, not even one book.
She's not. There's no absolutes that I like. Get me an absolute Wonder Woman by Mike Deodato. Then we're talking.
Hey, Peter,
you're such a '90s guy. I love it.
I think it's okay. I have very mixed feelings about DC and the Zeros, so it's okay to skip the Zeros.
Oh
my
view.
A Game of You is what the Sandman story is.
Peter, did you ever read The Abominable Charles Christopher?
No, I'm not familiar with that. I will take a rack.
That is an indie book by the same artist as the Gotham Academy.
Oh, Carl Kerschel?
Yes.
I read his other one with the tiger.
Yeah, this one.
I like that book.
This one is like, it's one of the most wholesome, like cheerful books, but it's also, there are times it goes for the heart, but it's one of those I recommend highly. It's all free online.
Ooh, all right.
So before Max answers, I want to get a couple of super chats, and then M, of course, I've said will come after we're done with the question. But Jack Ferry just wanted to say really quick,
alphabetical order: Colossus, Cyclops, Emma Frost, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Psylocke, Quanon, Rogue, Shadowcat, Storm, Wolverine. Good choices. Good choices.
And thank you for the super chat.
It's like the gold and blue team with the throwing in Emma Frost, though. Hey, Delusionals Arcade, how you doing, buddy?
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
y'all.
Thanksgiving
Thank
to you, my friend.
And then M's got the question after we're done. Max, take it away.
All right, Max. Give me some DC representation here. What do you like?
Well, that is my forte. That's definitely my area. That wrench of butt. I read a bunch of. Probably Day Tripper. That would be my number one pick.
It's a good one.
Then Preacher, Sandman, and Long Halloween. I really like the Long Halloween. Pretty much it.
Those are solid choices, man. Solid choices. Did you go?
Oh, I didn't prepare a list.
Okay. Josh, what about you? You got some DC recommendations or things that you like from DC?
Oh, I do, and I'm reveling in this. Like, if you haven't seen, I've been looking like the canary, like the cat that's got the canary, because I've had to listen for hours and hours with this panel, not putting enough respect on the king. What's the answer?
Elvis?
Jack Kirby. So guess what? I have the floor. We're going to talk about this. Why should you read Commandy? Some of the best, just pure fun comics. What if someone went, hey, Kirby, we want you to do Planet of the Apes, but do it better. Boom, got you right here. One of just pure joy. I can't recommend this highly enough. Hey, absolutes. What should be the only answer for the absolutes? I don't know. Maybe the Fourth World. Some of the best comics, some of the best villains. This and some of the best design. Like, you cannot beat this. Jack the King Kirby. But you know what? I know what you're saying. I don't know. Fourth World, kind of spacey. I need some more genres. I need something a little bit more different. This hunker of a book has like every different genre you ever want. Crime, horror, whatever you want. Jack Kirby. This is the Bronze Age by Jack, the DC Universe Bronze Age Omnibus by Jack Kirby.
Okay.
This is a book that can kill someone from like 3 feet above if you drop it down. This contains all of his superhero works. This contains war, crime, horror, and I am so excited. This stupid cover's coming out. But yeah, Jack the King Kirby is one of my favorite parts of DC. And I know a lot of people go like, his writing. His writing is more mature. It's more for adults. So I know a lot of people are, used to childish things, especially his dark side. Like every other version of Darkseid pales in comparison compared to Kirby's. Because that was a true villain, a true fascist. And I cannot stress enough that Jack Kirby is the correct answer. Also, Scalp, because I just finished that last night. The first omnibus, recommend that highly.
It's very different from Jack Kirby.
Just slightly.
What about Darwin Cook?
Now, here's the thing. Darwin Cook is definitely up there. If I had to pick one Darwin Cook, it's his Parker run. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta go with New Frontier, right?
Yeah, New Frontier though. That is one of the. That's honestly, if I had to pick like a superhero DC book, New Frontier every day.
The book I didn't finish for book club.
That's the only book you finished Trouble, but you didn't finish New Frontier. I love that.
This is what gets me, Melanie. I love you. You're literally one of my favorite people. Then when I hear your takes on stuff like Full Metal Alchemist, I'm just like, my heart.
Welcome to my world when she didn't like Starman, but that's another story. So what about Chris? You said that Mike Grell's Green Arrow in specific was the one that kind of solidified your love.
Yeah,
that's a good choice.
It was just like, I'm gonna create when I first found it, I said, oh, I love the grittiness, and then I was like, wait a minute, he's doing a whole run and not gonna call himself Green Arrow at that point. It's like, oh, I love this idea.
Oh, look, Warren agrees with you.
I don't hate it. It's just good. I'm going to read something else.
Warren hates everything. Except for Wildstorm.
Good stuff.
This is what Warren loves. 80s and 90s, like women who kick ass with big hair. That's what Warren loves. Dazzler, like, it's not a hard formula.
Oh, that's right. He was excited for the Dazzler omnibus, but hates Wolverine, which is such a conundrum.
Like I said, 80s or 90s, boom.
Yeah, how did Dazzler not make your top 10, Peter?
Oh, I think because Dazzler kind of supersedes being an X-Men. Dazzler's not primarily an X-Men. She's primarily a pop superstar. So that's.
Wait, do I not get to say my top favorite?
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, didn't even prepare an answer.
Do we have time for Bar to?
I mean, how long does it take to take Mad Love?
Go ahead. What do you got, Bar?
Okay, so for me, I have to go with Harley Quinn Hot in the City. Again, it was my first comic, and Harley Quinn Rebirth. Harleen. And actually I feel like the comic that actually made me like be okay, I love this character was Harley Quinn by Carl Kessel. I love that series. Like, I love it. It doesn't get enough love, in my opinion.
That's the first one before she like with the classic look, right?
Yeah,
the animated.
2000. Yeah, from the year 2000. From Batman, I already said The Long Halloween. It's still my favorite Batman, and I'm still mad that they don't go for that style of Batman anymore. What else? I love Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Supergirl being super, Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka. But I think I have to choose the George Perez one over that, because we wouldn't have the Greg Rucka one if we didn't have George Perez first. What else? Oh my God.
What do you like, Superman?
Superman Birthright. I actually need to thank you for that, because you actually sent me the trade paperback for that.
Oh,
I would not have read it.
12-year-old boy in Israel.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that for you or the 12-year-old boy?
Okay. Well done. Well played.
I would not have read it if you hadn't sent it. So thank you, I guess.
I'm glad you liked it.
And of course, Poison Ivy. Everyone needs to read Poison Ivy. Everyone in the chat, go ahead and read Poison Ivy. Yeah, this is my list.
Yeah, it is your list. That is absolutely right. We had a super chat from M, if you want to get that first. Oh,
just want to say to Omar Melly, thanks for the recommendations of Deadpool, Black Wine Blood. Yeah, it's so much fun. Had to get that. Wolferine's also the Doctor Doom book this week. Thanks for the Doctor Doom, the Omni.
The Doctor Doom Cantwell book is amazing. If you've never read it, like, it's so good. Like, Doctor Doom riding a bear to go back to take his country is so badass. So awesome.
And I'm saying my grandmother used to work on war comics during World War II. That's
badass.
Jinx.
Imagine you all
thank you for the super chat from a while ago.
Yeah, thank you, Emin, for being patient. Imagine you are all hosting in real life Thanksgiving dinner together. You each get to invite one fictional comic book character to attend the dinner. Who do you ask? Do they have to say yes, right? Is that the? I assume they're not
I'd
going to
so.
say no.
They have to come. Like it's the magic world.
Who do you ask? Fictional character.
Oh, I got you. No, I'm last.
Won't you pick Big Bart? I'll pick Power Girl.
No, I don't have to think about it. Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Dang it! All right,
adult
Spider-Man. All right, I'm gonna go with Rogue. I'm gonna invite Rogue Sugar. She can bring some of her sweet potato.
The reasoning for Rogue.
That's it.
Family
Lars,
show.
Nightcrawler. Lars, are you inviting Nightcrawler to stink up like Thanksgiving dinner?
Jesus Christ, I don't know. Invite to dinner. Can you skip me and come back?
I love that it's a fictional character. You could go with a doctor, Lars.
Well, I could.
Wait.
Yes, but every time the doctor shows up, people die.
It's
not if you run.
Well, my legs are good.
Why aren't you listening to that?
I
think what made me a bigger Superman fan as an adult. Love that. All right. Anything, Lars? Not yet. Come back to you.
Invite to dinner. Probably Dinah Lance. Probably Black Canary.
Oh.
I think she'd
wig,
be
wig or no wig.
Whichever she prefers.
That's the
and genuinely, it's because I think she'd be very interesting to talk to.
Oh,
that is the sweetest, lamest answer.
Well, you want Rogue for sweet potatoes?
Yes.
I think we all know why you're inviting Power Girl, Omar.
Political conversations. Hello. All right. Curtis.
Personalities. Yeah.
Yes. Curtis.
Oh man, I wasn't thinking about this. I'm going to invite Vision and Scarlet Witch.
Oh, okay.
Because I know that they'll put on a good meal.
True.
Oh, that's a good answer. Good
Wow.
answer. Good answer.
Wow. Okay. Chris, you're on mute, buddy. Just letting you know. Yeah, you're muted.
There we go. Sorry.
There you go. Okay.
I'm gonna have to bow out after this one, but I will invite Matt Murdock, Daredevil, because if you're going to a big family outing at that point, not only do you want to smell if the food's good or not, you need to overhear those interesting conversations that they family members whisper behind people's backs to figure out what's really going on.
Oh, good answer.
I love that you're so hyped up for this question. That is a good answer, legit. All right, Crisis, what do you got? Who are you inviting?
I'm gonna
Chris,
peace out at this point.
Where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can catch my shows, Marvel Alliance, on the Geekverse Podcast YouTube channel, and then catch us on Saturdays with Jake and Jordan and me on Brave and the Boys for the OPB Buyer's Guide. So thank you, Omar. Thank you for all y'all, friendship, everything. Enjoy it. See y'all later.
Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye.
All right, Crisis, bring it home. What do you got?
I've been looking across my shelf as we've been talking, and I think I would want to have dinner with the lead character from Murder Falcon.
Wow.
I read that, as I was missing my band, all my bandmates are off back in America doing other music stuff, and I can't play music with them anymore. And reading this story about this person who had lost his soulmates that made music with him, and he has to kind of go through this process of getting them back, and it was something I so closely identified with, and he's just cool. Even though he's a metalhead, it's not really my thing. I just love that book so much, and I think that's one of the closest I've ever felt to a character in a comic book. So I think it'd be really fun to just talk music and guitars and stuff with him.
See, and I was going to tease you, Peter, and you come in with a real heartfelt answer.
Who are you bringing, Josh?
Oh, man. I'm bringing Sanji because I don't want to cook, and I want the best meal ever.
Good answer.
But then you're trapped in a dungeon, and, the food's great, but you can't get out.
No, he's talking about One Piece, Lars.
Oh, One Piece. Sorry.
Sorry. He's thinking of Delicious and Dungeons.
I was thinking of Delicious
and
Dungeons.
Lars is he's
I was
exposing
thinking
his racism when it comes to anime.
No, stop. I was thinking Senshi. That's it, Senshi.
Literally, that was the first thought in my head. I'm like, I don't want to cook, so boom.
Max, did Max answer? I don't think Max.
And that's why I would invite Soft Serve to my house.
Max, who are you inviting?
Well, I would pick Nanny, but that's more like an Easter type thing. I would pick Dupe, but all he eats is candy. I would pick Doctor Strange, but he can't really eat normal food. So I'd probably just ask Michelangelo and just get a lot of pizza. Or Donnie.
Oh,
Sweet
yeah,
answer.
good answer.
Okay. This is gonna be an interesting dinner. Especially with the character from Murder Falcon shows up because I cannot remember his name.
Murph.
Is that Murph? Yeah.
Was
No,
Murph the Falcon or was Murph the dude? I meant the dude, not the Falcon.
I know.
You don't even have to invite the Falcon to dinner. Just the guy, the main guy.
Yeah, with like the joke.
Okay. Bar.
Poison Ivy.
No, actually, I'm not gonna go with either Harley or Ivy. I think that that'll be a little too much for me. I'll go for Laura Kinney. I just feel like she needs a hug. She really needs a hug, and I'll want to be the one
Aw.
giving it to her. So yeah, I will have Laura.
Okay, Laura
Aw,
Kinney.
yeah.
Lars, did you figure it out yet?
Oh, damn it! I didn't know I got a second bite of the apple.
Who did you say?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Did you say somebody?
I said Black Canary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind. Forget it, Lars. Forget it.
Yeah.
Jake.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry. I was so enraptured by everyone's answers that I wasn't thinking of another one of my own.
Jake is the one that threw me off. I'm like, well, that guy's human. That's cool.
Although also, if we're talking purely on dinner conversation, Lois Lane. Lois Lane would be really interesting to talk to at dinner.
Emma Frost would be great to talk to.
She would, but it would be a bit much.
No, yeah.
I love Lois Lane because like she's classic overachiever, great at everything, but then she has flaws like how she can't spell or she's like always like a little bit disorganized, but then she has that one hyper focused thing she's great at, which is journalism and finding the heart of the story. And I've come to really love her for that, not just because she's Lois Lane, but because she's like she's not perfect. She's perfect at a thing, and then she's a screw up at a lot of other things, and I think that makes her very endearing.
One of the best dinners in comics is actually again in Gail Simone's Birds of Prey when Lois Lane sits down with Barbara Gordon, and they are both unexpectedly trying to blackmail each other. Or they both have it's not a pleasant dinner. It's a we both have leverage over each other dinner. But it plays out really interestingly. So yeah.
Shots are fired. Thank you, John, for the super chat. Kirby's ideas are great because I'm not delusional like Josh. I can call his writing and dialogue what it is, which is passable at best.
So, John, I have unchecked power. You're banned. Like, enjoy this time.
It is something that gets talked about often in DC. Why he
you didn't choose Bell Dandy.
Damn it! That's
Hey, Josh didn't choose Bell Dandy either.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't choose Bell Dandy. I would choose Erd. I mean, that's the correct answer.
But Bell Dandy cooks with love.
Yeah,
you don't
Erd
want
don't know how to
Also, the one sister from Rana One Half.
Nabiki?
No, Kasumi.
Kasumi's the cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omar, I would invite Blackheart because I haven't seen my sister in a while. Wow. I'd get Bruce to take me out because he's a billionaire and has a private jet and can have a reservation in any restaurant in the multiverse. All right. I love that Bruce is taking you out, not going to have Thanksgiving dinner at your house. Do you all have a favorite Thanksgiving comic? People ask me that all the time. Like, what's a good?
Are there a lot of Thanksgiving comics?
The only one that always comes to mind is the X-Men, Uncanny X-Men. What is it? 308. The proposal, right? That was a Thanksgiving one where they're all having Thanksgiving dinner. John Romita Jr. drew it.
Or was it a pancake breakfast? There was also a pancake breakfast.
That sounds good. Oh, now I'm hungry.
So, one of my close friends, I always love how he put Thanksgiving. It's one of his favorite holidays because it's one of the few holidays where it's what you bring to the table. Because it's like it's a chance to be with who you want to be, and it's a chance to have like a good meal. So the idea is if you each bring a dish, you kind of make it that way. So I think what's kind of nice about Thanksgiving is, in some ways, it's what you want to do. Because I don't have like a set book, but I always enjoy like today I got to read Wanted by Oda, which is all of his stories before he did One Piece, which was a fun thing to do. So I don't have like a set book, but I would say like whatever kind of puts you in a thankful and kind of grateful mindset.
Jason, I'm gonna be honest. While I do know that this is like a holiday where you're thankful for things, I'm still not sure what this holiday is about. I have no idea what this holiday
Food.
like. I know y'all
Yeah.
have turkey,
I think a
and that's
lot of
about
it.
it.
Well, I I am an immigrant to this country, so my family didn't really celebrate Thanksgiving, unless they were married into it. But I do remember the only Thanksgiving I missed out on since living in this country was in 2002, and that was because a week before that Thanksgiving dinner at my aunt's house, my ex-wife and I had split up. We were separating, and I left that home, that place that was my home, never to come back again. And I didn't want to be around family because I was getting tired of people asking me like, what happened? What's going on? Are you guys going to try to work it out? And so instead I went to go and house sit for a friend of mine. But I remember my dad was like trying to get me to come, and I regretted it later because I think that was the Thanksgiving that I figured like, okay, despite of what this is supposed to be about, like this marketable thing, right? Because I had worked at Walmart, so I know how busy this time of year was. It really was about getting together with people you love, right? Like, I mean, that's what it meant to me, even though, yeah, it took me missing out on Thanksgiving to realize that. Yeah. And I look forward to that. Your dad used to do deep fried turkey.
I
miss
want
that.
a deep fried turkey. I want to
Really?
taste your moisture.
That's
turkey.
where you went?
I want a deep
Not memories of your dad deep frying the turkey, but you went with freaking William Shatner's stupid song.
But we showed it to Dad. Did he like it?
I don't think he appreciated
Yeah, he
it.
probably did.
Your mom loved it.
Also, if you need a good laugh, look up failed fried turkey attempts on YouTube.
Oh, but can people actually get hurt? Like,
That's why he made that video.
Yeah. I don't want to laugh at that though.
For me, the Thanksgiving was always just a step back to realize just how many blessings we have in our lives and be grateful regardless of the many difficulties and appointments.
Jack Barry.
There's a Wikipedia website.
So I was I've been going to the swimming every morning at 6 a.m. And so I was in the pool, and after I do my laps, I do like the slow aqua jogging. So there's all these older women that do the aqua jogging every morning. I've finally been accepted into their tribe. I've been slowly worming my way in. And so I mentioned yesterday, like, oh, tomorrow will be Thanksgiving. And they're New Zealanders, as I mentioned at the top of the show. They have no reason to know what Thanksgiving is. They're like, is that where you start giving the Christmas gifts? So I tried to explain it to them without just saying, give thanks, right? And I was like, for a lot of families, it's a time that you kind of like assemble with the people you want to assemble with. So many of the other big holidays, there's a lot of like territorial, like who's going to get Christmas, or like, well, I want to have my kids live Christmas morning with the tree, or like, like who's going to cook the Hanukkah dinner? Like we always do Easter and Aunt whoever, like, and I feel like Thanksgiving, even though certainly some families have tension about it, is kind of like the one holiday where everybody really makes an attempt to just all get the biggest group of people together that you can. And because it's like got that early dinner baked into it for so many people, it's really just sometimes your only chance in the year to like have substantial conversations with those relatives that you don't see all the time, because it's not like everybody rolling in at like 4 or 5 and just sitting right down to dinner and then eating. It's really like a day you watch football, you mill through the kitchen, you go with grandma to check on the bird, you do whatever. And so it's just, for me, really the day that you have to like have a meaningful connection with people, because people want to be together on that day. And even when I stopped going with my family and I started going to all different friends' families for Thanksgiving, it was always that. I was like, wow, here's a chance to like see my friends' parents who I like kind of know in passing and like actually talk to them for like 6 hours, And so that's what Thanksgiving is to me. It's like a chance to really like get to know and love people and be with the people you want to be with, as opposed to all the other holidays would come with all this other stuff attached. So that's my deep from the heart. Me and Murph from Murder Falcon around the table enjoying Thanksgiving.
Jake from Murder Falcon.
Also,
Lars uses this as the day to go to Doctor Who conventions, apparently.
But like that's who he wants to be with, right?
That's
right.
That's who he wants to be.
Exactly.
Are you meeting friends there?
What?
Are you meeting friends there?
The chosen family's going out tonight. Yeah. in about an hour. We have to. Apparently, we have to go across Chicago to go wherever we're going for dinner. So we have to go. We have to leave at about 4:30. I don't know why. Yeah, absolutely. So it's always a double-edged sword having this convention this time of year because, a lot of people are like, oh, it's Thanksgiving. I can't possibly make it. And a lot of people are like, hey, it's on Thanksgiving. That's great. I don't have to work. So I will be there. Yeah, it's a pretty big show. It's probably the second biggest Doctor Who convention in America. Gallifrey's bigger. But
What's the name of this con?
The Chicago TARDIS.
Chicago TARDIS.
Yeah.
Curtis, do you guys celebrate Thanksgiving on the wrong day in Canada?
Are you doing it wrong?
You guys went a little early, right? You wanted to
100% the right day.
How does a Canadian company pay you money, Omar? That's a real question.
I don't know. Curtis, when do you guys celebrate it?
Our Thanksgiving is the second Monday in October. Second Monday in October. And so we it's kind of the same deal as in the United States, just on a different day. And a lot of that was done. Thanksgiving used to be on the same day, but then after World War I, I think it was, they decided to bump it up earlier because we already had a holiday, because we declared Armistice Day, a Remembrance Day holiday in November, so they wanted to have a different holiday in a different month.
Well, man, I'm having a history lesson now. That's pretty cool. So that's the reason why they moved it to October, like the second weekend of October, or second week in October.
Yeah, the second Monday in October. Yeah, in fact, it used to be that I believe in Canada the date was a floating date that was kind of determined by the government. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to have Thanksgiving on this day. Often it was a Sunday or whatever, I think, and there would be big civil parties depending on which city you were in and such. But that was a long time ago.
Do you guys still partake in Black Friday shopping? Like, is that a big thing over there?
In India, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
capitalism.
All of the companies still need to raise their books into the red for the end of the year. So yes, we still have into the black. They need to raise them into the black. So we still have Black Friday sales.
So BD Cosmos, responsible from Canada, is having a Cyber Monday sale. The offer is only valid on December 2nd and only online. And they offer you 15% gift card cashback on all online purchases of graphic novels and comics.
And comics, paint. Wait, paint.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
So you get the additional 25% off of your 99 Canadian dollars or more, but then they give you 15% cashback on all products that are on sale. And that goes on that goes on sale on Monday.
There's also paint, pots, miniatures, and RPG books. Guessing now. BD Cosmos with rewards and raffles taking care of customers in Canada.
Boxing Day. That's a Boxing Day, right?
That's the day after Christmas for I don't know if it's all Commonwealth countries or just Canada and like UK or whatever, but yeah, that's the day. Typically we get sales for that week.
Look, somebody's excited to see you, Bar.
And if you're looking ahead that far, if you're making plans for Christmas, the new Nosferatu movie comes out on Christmas Day. So if you want to
That's the one with Willem Dafoe.
Yep. So if you want to avoid your family with a black and white movie of a blood-sucking fiend, this would be the one. Much like some of your relatives.
I was going to say, sounds like if I went back to the States for Christmas dinner.
I usually go to the.
But now you go to the movie theater, yeah.
Yeah, on Christmas Day because it's. I think Christmas, like for Latinos, Christmas Eve was the big celebration. And I think in America, it's usually Christmas Day that like your family did things. And after a few hours, I was like, I'm going to go to the movie theater and watch a movie.
Yep.
Not because I didn't like your family. I was bored.
Oh, yeah. It does get boring.
Right?
To be honest.
You catch up with so many people, and then you're like, we are all caught up.
I think I'm going to go get ready.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So it was
I'm going to jump off. It's nice to see you, Melanie. I'm going to jump off too.
Bye,
I need to have some lunch.
Good to see you, Curtis.
Curtis, always a pleasure too, my friend. Where can people find you?
Over at on Facebook, join my Epic Collection group. There's also a DC Finest group. I've been posting a lot of stuff over there. Otherwise, Epic Marvel Podcasts. Just search for that in the various different places, and you'll find me. Omar, you and I should be doing some Epic Collection announcements pretty soon, right?
Yeah,
We're just kind of
I sent
gathering
you the
info right
list.
now.
Yeah, I sent you the list, and we're just waiting on some covers. Yeah, and I'll see. Hopefully, they'll have that ready by next week, and then we can pick a date and start announcing at least August and September, which is a lot of fun. But yeah.
And then over on Dom of X's YouTube channel, we will be doing a little overview of the DC Finest that have come out so far, talking about our favorite parts of them and what we think. And I think the best thing, my favorite thing that I've read in the DC Finest so far is the Alan Moore annual story with Clayface in the DC in the Batman book. It's really great. Okay, anyway.
Thank you, Curtis, for being here.
That's it.
I
Gotta
didn't
go.
want
Thanks,
to ask
everybody.
something, Curtis.
Oh yeah.
So I do love
wanna ask
the
me
Art of
something?
Marvel. Yes, I do love
Okay.
the Art of Marvel books. Are you going to do DC books, like the Art of DC books?
That is a great question. We would love to. Of course, that takes a whole different license and agreement because it's a completely different company. But that would be amazing. I have no idea if you'll have to talk to my bosses about that. Put in your request, but that would be great. So many great artists over there that haven't crossed over to DC. That would be really cool. Which artists would you like to see in that line?
Dan Mora, Jenny Friesen. Those are like my two favorites.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes, those two.
Brian
Yeah, those are
Stelfreeze,
great.
Adam Hughes.
Yeah. Those would be good too. Okay, I'll send those requests along. See you later, everybody.
Be good,
Bye.
And then there were 6. All right, so let's start wrapping up for today. Peter brought his guitar out. Peter, what are you playing, buddy?
This is just what I do at holidays, actually. Like, I know that I'm often the one who talks the most in these streams. So usually when I'm with a group like this, I kind of just like to go into a corner with a guitar and listen to everybody talking while I kind of just noodle. So I think I'm like kind of going into my normal holiday mode, actually, as our conversation presses on.
Okay. And what's the book that you all have enjoyed the most? I know every year I do like a video where I invite a bunch of friends on to spotlight the book that they've enjoyed, like their favorite read. And I'll be doing the same thing this year. But what's the book that you all have enjoyed the most so far that took you by surprise? Anybody can go first. Doesn't have to be Lars. Lars looks like he's thinking.
I look tormented. But so you book new to this year, you mean?
Yeah, or new to you.
Okay.
Maybe it came out in 1984 and this is the first time you read it. My man, Alex.
I got you know what? I got 3 because Omar doesn't pay me, so I'll break the rules. But the first one, I did a video on this channel, Poison Elves. I took a chance with this. This was a big kind of gamble. I've never read this, but it sounded like something I would like. Especially seeing the like artist growth from like, I swear, typing paper to like almost fully fledged like professional comics. And each page just got better and better to the point like the only thing that pissed me off about this, I have to wait for more. Like I cannot wait to give this more money. My other 2 though, finally getting to read all of Black Science because that was just a fun read from beginning to end. And then the other one that goes along with that, finally getting a chance to read Fear Agent. Like both of those books, like both those series, I cannot recommend highly enough, and especially the crazy turns. So those are my 3.
Both of those are Remender series. Max, anything that took you by surprise this year?
Yeah, well, I read by Peter's recommendation. I read These Savage Shores this year, and I thought it was excellent. I thought it was very good because usually I find horror interesting when it's allegorical, when it's a metaphor for something. And this is, I mean, it's pretty much about, England colonizing stuff and them being represented as vampires. I thought it was a very clever take. So that one, I also really liked Semi-Auto Magic, because I really like the art in that. So the art in that was really cool.
Lars, you still thinking?
I think I have it.
What do you got?
Unexpectedly, I sort of am on the Jed MacKay bandwagon. Moon Knight by Jed MacKay was unexpectedly pretty great.
So good.
And his Doctor Strange. And these are not characters that I don't have anything against them, but I don't avidly follow Moon Knight and Doctor Strange month to month, year to year. But I found myself, I started reading these and I couldn't stop. And I was like, oh goodness. So I bought the Moon Knight Omnibus. I mean, that's the real testament. It's like, am I willing to pay money for this? So about that, I did sit down and read Sex Criminals, finally.
Yes.
Okay. So Sex Criminals and Paper Girls, I had read the first volumes at the library, but then they were still coming out. And so I just never finished them. It gave me a better appreciation for the compendium format, because I was like, oh yeah, buying a compendium, which has the whole damn thing in it, is actually a pretty good idea. So yeah, Sex Criminals Unexpectedly Great. Paper Girls was also a lot of fun, although that one, it worked. It keeps shifting genres all the time. It's like, well, this is a time travel story. Well, it's an alien story. Well, it's this. Well, it's this. I'm like, what the hell am I?
Isn't that all sci-fi though?
Yes, but this one in particular, it's like, it was shifting around a lot. But it was very good. It was very, very good. And then also I did enjoy The Nice House on the Lake.
Oh, great art. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, really, really good. And I'm not a James Tynion absolutist. Like, I really enjoyed him on Justice League Dark, but I can never get into his Batman. I don't know why. I keep trying to read his Batman. It just doesn't get there for me. But Nice House on the Lake, I was like, oh, this is genuinely pretty great. So yeah.
Is Paper Girl suitable for early teens? I'm trying to think. I don't think
yes.
Yeah, I think it would be.
Once they're a teenager, I mean, it's got like smoking. They have attraction that they're
12,
dealing with.
So
yeah. Like
I don't think it's any more ribald than kissing. Yeah, that should be fine.
What were some of those books you were reading as a teenager?
Well, yeah. Well,
I saw Ninja Scroll when I was 14, so
yeah, but that's his niece, right?
Well,
like that's a little different. What I read and what I give my daughters to read are two different things.
Yeah.
Let's see. Max, I can't remember. Did Max go? Okay, Max went. Oh, that's right. You liked the what's it called? These Savage Shorts. What about you, Bar? What's the book that you enjoyed so far?
So for me, Black Cat, I really loved it. I had a lot of fun with that series. The X-23 omnibus, I loved Laura before this. I was in love with Laura after this. That omnibus really stuck with me for quite a while. Can I also say monthly comics that I've
Sure.
started reading this year?
Yeah, what do you got?
Surprisingly, the From the Ashes era of X-Men. I've been surprised at how much I've been enjoying it. Like, again, it's probably because I don't have the baggage of being an X-Men fan for years. This is probably my really first like X-Men footprint, I would say. But I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. The absolute titles, I'm loving Absolute Wonder Woman. It's probably one of the best new comics that are coming out right now. And Absolute Batman and Superman. I've only read the first issues of those, but I love those. Yeah, and I can just say that with DC, I'm really excited for what's to come, for all the new stuff that they have announced and restarting a lot of the titles. So that's something I'm looking forward to. But I'm actually surprised I'm reading more Marvel right now. Actually, I've been really enjoying Fantastic Four by Ryan North.
Also, to quote Bar, that is quite a marvelous list you have.
Yeah. Actually surprising. Yeah. He did say surprises. So that's been the
I did.
biggest surprise this year, that I've been getting way more into Marvel. But DC has some exciting things for me next year. So yeah.
Peter, what's your favorite from the Ashes series?
None.
You're
So
keeping up?
no, NYX. It's NYX by
Okay.
a mile. But the rest of them are
Exceptional
unremarkable.
X-Men?
It's pretty. Carmen Carnero is one of my favorite artists. No, I'm done. I think I'm done. Krakow was X-Men to me. I don't know if I need any more X-Men stories. We'll talk more once they're trade of everything out and we can have like a rank 'em, but I find it so inconsequential. Okay. So surprises. A book I read begrudgingly, and then it became my favorite comic of the year. Alan Scott, The Green Lantern. Oh my goodness.
That was quite interesting. Yeah.
Who's the writer on that?
I'm trying to remember who the writer was.
It wasn't Jeremy. What's Adams, right?
No. So this is
Joshua Williams, is it?
No, it's not one of the. It's somebody good. Tim Sheridan was the writer. It's a story of Alan Scott's brief period of being out before he went back in the closet and wound up marrying and having kids. And it's when he's in the army in the 40s, and there's kind of like a tragedy in that. And then it's just kind of how the men come and go in his life, and him trying to accept who he is, but then also kind of like a mystery in the modern day that's connected to one of them. And I think a lot of times I look at those series, I'm like, oh, there's no way this is going to be good to try to like retcon in some gay into this superhero. But it's just so well done. I think for people who liked Snagglepuss Chronicles and like that kind of very historic look at what it meant to be queer in a very specific period of time in the 60s, this is like that for the 40s and 50s. At one point, he's institutionalized because of being gay, and it's a really good comic. And I don't think you just have to be queer to appreciate it. I think it's just really, really well done. And then the next week, I read probably my other biggest surprise of the year, which is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Y'all, if you want to see a bunch of Muppets and Berenstein Bears do Dexter, it's so messed up. It's so funny. It's so dark. It's so expertly crafted. I just really, really enjoy it. And then I think my third one, if we're only going to have three, is I think possibly the best superhero book of the year is Batman Dylan Dog. It just came out in trade paperback. Dylan Dog is an Italian comic that's been around for decades. He's kind of like the Hellblazer of Italy, I want to say. Don't come for me, Italian family. I don't know for sure because I don't read Italian. But it's the best Batman story I've read in a really long time. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's funny. It doesn't feel like a typical Batman other character mashup where it's kind of like they're just trying to like make it go together and it doesn't go together. It really feels like Dylan Dog has always lived in Batman's world and Batman has always lived in his, and their villains would naturally gravitate towards each other. If you have not read it, just an absolute smash hit. Every page is the best. And it doesn't just have Batman. It has Catwoman in it. It has the demon, Etrigan. It has Constantine in it. It's really, really good. Highest possible recommendation.
A friend of mine was raving about the art on that too, because it's like...
Josh.
Also, Peter, congratulations. You will now live rent-free in my head. Because if I ever hear the term woke, you playing Redcon the Gay, it's going to be playing in the background.
James,
I think there's room to squeeze in a little bit of queer plot into every character's
I agree.
Story.
It's just your delivery of that was perfect.
Well, yeah, I agree, because those Justice Society titles, when they announced them, you were just thinking, oh, trademark renewal. Yeah. Trademark renewal. And then that Alan Scott one's like, oh, Jesus, this is really good. It was really, really good.
James is mentioning a book that I'm very excited for that I haven't read yet, but I think it's out. Spectrum #1, because the art is by Dave Grissom, and I'm a big fan of his work on Chasing the Bird, which is an autobiographical graphic novel about Charlie Parker. And he did The Search for Sound, which was an autobiographical. It's basically the graphic novel version of the autobiography by Miles Davis, which was really good. The art in that is absolutely spectacular.
What is the book called?
Spectrum.
I think
somebody in chat was just talking about it.
My surprise of the year, honestly, because I do like my top 10 every year. And some of them don't come as a surprise. Like I was like, oh, I kind of was I was thinking that's going to be a good book, and it was a good book. Cool. Joshua Williamson actually made that list though, because one of his books I really enjoyed, but I had read the first trade paperback of the series already. But I really got to give it to Barr. Poison Ivy, really blew me away. I thought it was excellent. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10 whenever we did an old reader, new reader. Both the writing and because for me, like G. Willow Wilson is not a hit every time. It's very hit and miss. I like a lot of the stuff G. Willow Wilson has written, but not everything. I had never heard of this artist up until I saw that book, and it just really surprised me how good it was written. And it was like, and to take the character from an already complicated storyline and starting her over again, I think she handled it really well. The way that she wrote the character of Pam, like I just thought it was handled really well, and I really enjoyed it and completely recommending it. And I'm hoping that one day we'll get some kind of big collection of it. Grimm was good, but I had already liked the artist on Grimm, so I kind of knew I was gonna like it. But for real, like the surprise was Poison Ivy. I know Tom King is divisive, but I loved Black Canary.
That issue was very good.
Ryan Sook is doing that. I love his artwork.
Yeah,
Peter David.
It was very good.
Yes, Grimm is excellent. Unfortunately, it's not done yet.
It's great. I'm loving it.
Nemesis had a little bit of a slow burn, though. It's not until volume 2 that I
see. Okay, I read
it got repetitive.
Sonny is a saint, like literally too much of a saint, because he sent me over 50 pounds worth of books, and one of them was Nemesis. That is the weirdest title I've ever read, because it feels like a book that came from like a TV show or a video game. Because if I describe the plot to you, it sounds insane.
It's a very European book.
Oh yeah,
I know it's a UK book, but it's a very European style book. Because it doesn't really make sense. Like you're just thrown into this world, and I kind of like that.
Well, and it's also the beginning of it, you can kind of tell it's like, oh, we're going to do a sci-fi thing. Then Kevin O'Neill, since he's the artist, it's like it's clear that the Pat Mills went, I'm just going to follow Kevin O'Neill's lead, and you go to some weird, crazy places. So yeah, Nemesis and Slain, the Horn God, I cannot recommend highly enough.
Time Before Time. Time Before Time. That's the one I've been with. That's the Howard Chaykin.
Good.
Right? Yeah, it's good. I like it. Go ahead, Peter.
I was just gonna say, I love time BS movies like Looper, Primer. I love movies that mess with time. If you're into that kind of stuff, Time Before Time, very, very fun read.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll make it into a top 10 for me, but it was solid. It was solid. Just I have so many, like I don't know how anybody else makes lists. I think most people, normal people, write it down. I actually get the books out that I've been writing, I have a spreadsheet, and I have like a stack of like 45 books on my table, and I'm like, only 10 of these can make it into the top 10. Which ones is it going to be? Super Laughheart is a great guy. He's a super solid guy, and Jesus, I know how much shipping is overseas. It's not cheap. Dual Power Bomb by Daniel Warren Johnson was a fun read. It is an excellent book. I think Time Before Time is still in print.
Who published Time Before Time?
Image.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone know if the Mobius Blueberry will ever be reprinted in a hardcover collected edition? Yes. Many printings of it. If you live in Spain, beautiful hardcover collections in Spain.
This isn't Blueberry.
4 trade paperbacks in English that are completely out of print. I think maybe 5. I only have 4.
This isn't Blueberry, but right now on Kickstarter, they're relaunching Heavy Metal, and one of the rewards is you can get, I forget what it's called. It was the first Mobius story.
Arzak?
Yeah, it's the French version of that, but it's there's no words, so you can get that in a nice hardcover.
My surprise book was the Magic the Gathering, because Jed McKay's writing that. Getting a fun, you know what? And you know what's another book that nobody talks about, or maybe people talk about? I just don't know. I don't hang around the right circle. The Star Trek books by Chris Cantwell are excellent, and Jackson and Kelly, those guys, like they read a lot of Star Trek comics. So yes, I do need to quick before we wrap up. There's a couple of Black Friday sales. So right now, cheapgraphicnovels.com is having their big sale. And they're kicking it off like every couple of hours. They're doing something new. And they're up to like 90% off of things. And it's first comes, first serve. So if you miss something, yes. You might not be able to get it.
It's like Kmart and their blue light specials.
So that is at cheapgraphicnovels.com here in America, and Walt's Comic Shop in the EU is having a big Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. So go and check it out. Somebody's yelling at Bar. Vanessa's yelling at Bar.
Hi, Vanessa.
Vanessa!
Colin Kelly, thank you.
I will say this with Cheap Graphics. I've gotten like some of their used stuff where I'm like, I'll take a roll on this. That's come in better condition than brand new Amazon. Like, yeah, you're like, go spend money.
Yeah. It depends, right?
It does, but usually, like, I feel like 90% of the time, it might be like a small little, like, it's one of those things you have to look for.
And Super Laugh Bar saying 80% off at 2000 AD online at the moment. I love. By the way, I really love my contacts at both 2000 AD and Titan. Like, they are wonderful, wonderful people. That always try to get me like in contact, like to do interviews and things like that, and just they're really sweet, and they really look to my channel for people that are wanting reprints of things. Maybe one day we'll get that Brian Boland Judge Dredd artist edition, because oh my gosh, that thing is ridiculously out of print. All right.
Hey Omar, when are we getting the Conan Volume 9 overview of Savage Sword?
I think it comes in the mail this week, or maybe
apparently it came out this week.
No, it doesn't. So the problem that we have right now is that officially it doesn't come out until December third week of December, but some distributors just don't give a crap. Money is money.
Okay.
So they're sending things out, especially if you live in the UK, where these books are being shipped to for distribution. So those distributors are just sending it out to local comic book stores and some places online. Whereas over here we have to wait for Diamond to officially say we are shipping these out. That's what's going on. And a lot of things like this happen with, like, Curtis isn't here right now, but with like some Omnis, they get released early in Canada, because it depends on where you're ordering from. Some distribution centers don't give a crap. Others are like, no, we have to follow the actual release date, which is this. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I enjoyed watching the tail end of the stream. Thanks, Omar and company. So yes, let's wrap it up. Lars, where can people find you, my friend, this weekend? This weekend,
I'm at Chicago TARDIS, surrounded by geeks. And from Doctor Who, we have Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, Fraser Hines, Wendy Padbury, Sophie Aldred, Joe Martin, and other great guests. So if you're into Doctor Who, please come to the Windy City. I am at madnorwegian.com, where I, among other things, co-write the Doctor Who Timeline A History with Lance Parkin.
Okay. And to his right, Max, where can people find you, buddy?
I'm Max. I do things with music. I recently did this thing where Curtis sent me a picture of Action Comics 6, I think, from 1938, where this woman was singing a song about Superman, and he said, you should write music from this era to this song. So I did. So I might post that somewhere. I'm not sure where. If you want to follow me, you can click on links. Thank you. You can definitely cover it. I would love to see your version. If you want to see some of the music things I do, you can click on the links provided by James.
And Bart, where are you?
So on Saturday I'll be doing a stream with Maddie, Jess, and Jessica on Omnibus Collectors Network. We'll be talking about the strange case of Harleen and Harley. If y'all want to watch, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
What time is that?
I think it's gonna be 1 p.m. EST.
Okay.
Is that a time? ET, EST? And y'all can contact me on Reddit, Discord, whatever. Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
Josh, what about you? What are you working on these days?
Right now, I'm actually working on Unprofessionals, but also Bang the Ballad of the Tiger. You can find me. The easiest way to get in contact with me is with the NMC Patreon Discord for $5 a month, but also Blue Sky, Instagram. I technically still have a Twitter. I'm not really on there. Hive, like almost any social media, you can find me.
Got it. Okay. And last but not least, Crisis. Where are you hanging out these days, my friend?
First, I got to give a little plug for those of you who have not read Bang by Great House. It is truly, truly good. You know, you read one issue of something by your friends because you're like, it's my friend. They made something. I want to. It's really, really good. Really, really pretty. Really, really delightful. The next time I'm getting a care package from someone in America, Josh will have to first send them the 2 trades of Bang so it can go into my trade care package. It is an official OmniDog Crisis endorsement, so please check out his comics. You can find me at crushingcrisis.com, where I'm so close to having every single Marvel guide updated to the present day. I've been doing it morning, noon, and night as Max has experienced when he's checked in on me over the course of the past week. So it's going to be done really, really soon, and then we can get to some new reading orders. I can't wait. So stay tuned to crushingcrisis.com. I will be back within the next week or so to talk Marvel solicits with Omar and the folks at Near Mint Condition. And you can find me on social networks as Crushing Comics. If you want to hear me talk about comics, I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky. Or if you want to just hear me talk about New Zealand and how I go swimming every morning, you can follow me at Crisis on Blue Sky. And I'm just very thankful to get a chance to have a Friendsgiving for the first time in almost a decade. So thankful to be with my loves, Omar and Lars. I appreciate you guys so much. Max, who is my sanity, my little music outlet, and just get to spend some time with Bar and Great House, who I never really get to be on stream with. So thank you very much.
I'm glad we went from love of my life, pillars, these people.
I said I never get to see you on streams. It's fun to get to talk.
That's
I've
because
never
Omar
been
doesn't
on
invite me.
with Great House, and I've only ever been with Bar once.
This is like your 4th
Omar
time.
doesn't invite us.
Yeah,
That's on Omar.
I don't play VC like OmniDog. This is like your 4th time on the channel. I think that's pretty good. But that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and go and hang out with your family. Hug those that or friends, whomever you're with. Yeah. I will be back on Saturday. The upcoming collected editions for December comes out tomorrow, and I have filmed Marvel announcements. They just have to be approved. So as soon as they're approved, you guys can talk about yay or no or whatever. Anyway,
are you gonna do end of year videos?
I always do. Mm-hmm. You want to be a part of the end of year? What your favorite read was this year?
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you an invite. I'll show you where to upload it to. I always do that with friends, people that have appeared on the channel. So, but that's it, everybody. Smash that like button on the way out and go and appreciate those people that are in your life.
Yeah.
Stay
minty.
Have a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. Be careful tomorrow if you're going shopping in America. It's nuts out there.
Good luck.